Steven and Larry, and we're talking Swish.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another edition of Talking Swish. Larry here, alongside with me as always is Steven Dykman. Steven, how are we doing today?
Good, man. Good. We've been playing a pretty good amount of Magic this weekend, and that's been exciting and fun. And our buddy just got so close today, playing the Kaldheim qualifier event. 6 wins again for the second time in a row.
At least this was one he didn't lose, go 0-2 at the very end and miss out.
Yep.
This one played back against the wall for most of the event.
Yep.
I believe he was 2-2 or something like that, and had to win out.
Yep.
So he made a good run.
Yep.
He was on the Naya Squirell deck, the one Crokey played over the weekend. It's based off of the Michael Majors deck from the very beginning of this new format when the set first dropped. He wrote an article on StarCityGames.com. The main difference in the decks is instead of the 2 Felidar retreats, it was the
2 Gem Grazers.
2 Gem Grazers. I'm not sure which one's correct or not, or which one's better, because I have never actually played either version up until today.
Yeah.
Minus the game or two I played yesterday or whatever it was. But I do think the deck was good. I definitely would recommend it for anybody doing events where you want to grind ladder, play the SCG qualifiers that are returning this week. That's if those qualifiers are standard. We don't actually know what the format is.
Yeah, Showdown of the Skalds is definitely another one of those cards that is just going to end up being one of the best cards out of the set, no question. I know you said it, that you thought that card was going to be really good even during spoiler season. And honestly, it's been even better than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be more of an aggro card, and it turns out that it just fits so well into these
mid-range.
Yeah, into these Innkeeper decks. The Innkeeper decks are super good again because Innkeeper is obviously good. Lovestruck. The core is just so good in with those adventure cards, and then now the mana is super good because the Naya lands are legit. There are a lot of ways you can build the deck. We see the Goldspan Dragon combo version that was super popular over the weekend. A lot of pros chose that in their event this weekend. I know one of our buddies was super high on the deck. Jaron White was super, super high on that variation of the deck. Then we have this variation, which is obviously a little lower to the ground, and doesn't do any of the combo stuff, which obviously you and I prefer.
It makes your top decks a little bit better.
I like not having to play that stuff, but that is a very potent real combo, no question.
Oh, 100%. Once you understand how the combo, because we had the issue where when we were all playing it, when me, you, Ray, and all of us was on, we honestly didn't have the full grasp on how you're supposed to be comboing, and that was a big difference. We didn't realize how the combo is based around the dragon.
Yeah, the combo's based around the dragon, and for those who haven't played the deck, the main idea really is you play Showdown of the Skalds. You get your card advantage, obviously, off it, but then the turn after you play Showdown, you cast Dragon, which obviously triggers the second saga of Showdown, which will put a counter somewhere. Then you attack with your Dragon, which generates a treasure, which then adds 2 mana. Then you use Unleash Fury, which doubles a target's creature's power, and then you also get a trigger from the saga. So you put the counter on the dragon, and then you double its power, so it has 10 power. And then if you have either a second Unleash Fury or the Double Strike spell, which they're playing now, you can kill opponents that way. And if you have 6 mana rather than 5 mana, you can also just fling the creature at them.
And here's a fun little fact that for those that don't know, what is the name of this dragon? Goldspan Dragon. Is it gets the extra treasures whether your opponent or you target it.
Yes.
One big thing a lot of people do is when they're playing Showdown and they have Stomp in the graveyard in there, for example, is they stomp their own dragon because it gets a counter. So you're only doing technically 1 damage to it. Because the counter negates one of the damage.
That's kind of cool.
So that's one of the big things. And the chances of that dragon actually dying is very low.
Very, very low.
Very low. So just a couple of things to keep in mind if you want to. And then if you double the power or whatever, like, it's easy to really get those extra points and to be able to close the game out very quickly.
Yep.
Even if you don't win, like, comboing that turn, you're probably
Such
good.
a huge chunk of damage. Yep.
Like, you could do 16 damage quite easily.
Very easy. Yep.
Now, Showdown of the Skulls is funny because the card that it reminds me of is Escape to the Wilds.
Yep.
The best comparison, because
It's a lot
I was
like
trying to
Escape.
think. I was like, is this like was that Experimental Frenzy? I was
Yeah.
like, not quite. I wanted to compare them because they were the 4 mana into the aggro decks, but what more fits that mold because it's more of a mid-range card. And the card that comes to mind is 1 more mana was Escape to the Wilds, and of course that card went ahead and lets you go ahead and play extra lands that turn. This one does have the benefit being where you get those counters, so I don't know which one's technically better. Showdown's nice because it's 4 mana. Both were very color restricted. Not you can splash them obviously, but one was red green. This one's Boros.
Yep.
At the same time, I think they're both equally as good based on what they were doing.
They're really messed up cards. They're both just really, really messed up cards. Very, very powerful. Tons of advantage.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, we'll see if Showdown someday will meet the same fate as Escape. For now, no one's going to talk about it, I don't think. Hopefully, well, I'm sure some people will talk
Escape
about it.
was surrounded by a lot of
A lot of
circumstances.
broken nonsense. So we'll figure out what happens.
Yeah, at least Showdown is coming in a time where the power creep has been brought back down.
Yes.
Escape came in Throne, where it was surrounded by so many insane synergies and power creep cards.
The thing that'll probably help Showdown too is we're only living with Innkeeper and Lovestruck and all these cards for how long? Not that much longer, right?
Exactly.
And
once the adventures are gone, it's going to be.
Honestly, Innkeeper is a really, really messed up Magic card, and so's Lovestruck Beast. That when all those cards go, cards like Showdown or like even if Escape still existed, they look a lot worse when they're not supported by such an incredible cast as well.
Another thing, I think the power level of aggro is going to come down in addition to that, because the thing, giving aggro all these 2-for-1s that's a big reason why aggro is like so strong in the format right now.
Yeah.
I'm used to like maybe 1 or 2 aggro decks, but there's a lot of aggro decks
There are
right
a lot
now.
of good aggro decks. Really, honestly, there are a lot of good decks in general in Standard,
There
right
is.
now, and it's cool. That's good. That's fun. That's interesting. I felt like I feel like there are plenty of decks that I could have played this weekend, and because I played the first day yesterday of the event and got 5 wins with cycling. So I had a pretty okay run with it. Some things didn't break my way, which was unfortunate, but some
That's
things
magic.
did too. And some of my wins, I got pretty fortunate to win at least a few of my games. My opponents just played very badly, and I was able to squeak out some games that I shouldn't have been able to. So I can be happy that I even got as far as I did, honestly. But yeah, a lot of things just weren't breaking my way. But I think cycling. We talked about. The cycling deck's pretty sweet. I'm not sad I played it or anything. I don't really know what the best deck in Standard is. I don't think I could really answer that question right now, personally.
See, I think it's a Standard format because there are formats. People are so spoiled with the whole fact how Standard's been like Reclamation, best deck,
best deck, best deck. Yeah.
There are formats that
Where
are
there
good
is not
formats where
a
there
best-
is not a best
Right.
deck. For example, let's go back to Guilds of Ravnica. We remember Green, Black, Phoenix, all them, Mono White were all really good decks, but people had their subjective views on what the best deck was, but based off results, there was no actually clear best deck.
Yep.
Because everything did different winning.
Yeah.
Because there's different ways, and that whole discussion about best deck is subjective anyway.
It is.
Outside of these moments where Reclamation, obviously, if you thought anything was the best deck outside Reclamation, you were in denial.
Yep.
But I think this is a format where there's no clear best deck.
Correct.
And I think Sultai would be probably close to being the best deck in Standard, if not for one thing: open deckless. I think that deck is incredibly worse when you know what's coming.
Yeah.
That is the thing. Seth Manfield's mentioned that over the weekend, that open deckless is not not friendly to that deck at all.
That makes sense.
It hurts that deck a lot. So, because you can't.
Because there's so many different variations of it going
Exactly.
on. Like, you don't know, like, when you see Yorion and see some Sultai lands, you don't know what's happening.
Or
you
even
don't
if
know.
you see Yorion, because it could be Esper, it could be all this, but once you get that information.
And let's say with cycling, for example, there were a few games yesterday where I was playing against Sultai, and I was very nervous to, especially when I was on the draw, to like play my 2-drop 2/2 if my opponent had an Elspeth's Nightmare. Like, that would have been a nightmare for me. If they play a thing, kill my guy, and then are also going to eat my graveyard, rip a cycle spell out of my hand. Like, that card is just super good against cycling. So the builds that have that are much, much better than the builds that don't. Also, cards like Blood Chief's Thirst. Like, you don't know if your opponent might be playing a couple copies of those for your Fox. Usually they don't, but you don't know for sure without open deck lists. But if you have an open deck list, you know, a lot of these lists are like 4 Heartless Act, 1 Eliminate, which is just horrible against Flourishing Fox. So you know you're safe. Now, to be fair, you kind of assume you're safe, but you don't actually know without the open deck list. So yeah, no, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, but it gives you all this information that if you've been doing competitive Magic for years or whatnot, open deck list is a change of scenery, because outside of PTs and top 8s, that isn't a thing.
Right.
Because I can't think of any event where everything's open deck lists.
Yeah.
Like, for every round, outside of the Pro Tour.
Right.
Or whatever the Pro Tour is called at that time. But the one thing that's been common recently is the change that, everything's open deck lists.
Yep.
And then obviously with online Magic, they didn't have a choice. That's how it is. Outside of these in-client, whether it be Moto or Arena events, things are going to have to be open deck lists, because the percentage for cheating would be just so high.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, we can't use the honor system.
No. And, you know, I mean, I think there are a lot of things to really like about open deck lists. Like, I've gotten kind of used to it. I kind of like it, honestly. And in the events where we have it, it's cool. It's you know, it's another thing that you can leverage when you're playing, which is nice.
The only downside to it, I think that turns off the surprise spike element of tournaments.
It does.
For example, Scred Red winning a tournament during the weekend. That ain't happening with no open deck list.
Now, luckily for Scred, a lot of the, well, I don't even know. With some of the MTGO events, there's still just like challenges and stuff like that, right?
Well, I'm not trying to suggest anybody play Scred and waste your money. Don't do that. Don't waste your money on my dime.
Yeah.
But
play Cats and Historic instead. You'll have more success, we promise.
But you play Scred Red and Modern. I don't even know how that deck wins.
Yeah,
man.
now, especially without Simian Spirit Guide and stuff now, because sometimes
Did they even play Scred?
Well, I guess not in Scred. I was thinking like the all-in red, you know, that would go like Simian Spirit Guide, Ritual Blood Moon on turn 1 or whatever on the play.
Oh, okay. That was Mono Red Prison.
Yeah.
Isn't that more of a legacy deck? That's more of a legacy deck.
It is, but there were versions of it in Modern too.
Yeah, it's not good.
Don't do any of these things.
Yeah.
They're all terrible. Don't do what you want, but we would not recommend it.
Yeah, I would not recommend you hating your life like that.
Yeah.
Somebody hurt you as a child. Like, who hurt you? They should be punished along with you. But no, the event today was, I think the qualifier events are pretty sweet, what they're doing for the arena events. And their scale up of pricing's nice.
Oh, it's very good. I got to play in this event for free today and not today, but yesterday, this weekend, and got like 2,000 gems or whatever. So that was just free value. It's
exactly
good.
Now, big thing I have right now is it's so weird to me that they don't have sealed on Arena when the next qualifier is sealed.
That's kind of dumb.
They should really be adding that back so you guys can have an opportunity to prep.
Yeah.
Because how do you practice? How do you get ready for this event?
Yeah, who knows?
I hope they don't expect people who are going to be paying for it on Moto, because a lot of people don't know how to play on Moto. Hell, today we won by the clock. Like, things happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens when you play on Arena, for sure. So.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird to me. For those that don't know, the next one in a couple weeks or whenever it is going to be Phantom sealed, because obviously they don't want to waste and kill the trees by printing these cards for everyone that are digital. It's very silly in my opinion.
It is really
But what
silly.
can you do?
It definitely is, yeah.
But regarding that, I do think those events are really good. I'm looking forward to being able to watch them, other teammates playing them in the future. I don't have any plans to like grind the top 1200 in the near future. I could.
Yeah.
I can easily get Mythic anytime I want.
Yeah, you just have to. It's
It's not hard to get Mythic.
It's
the
just
grinding.
it's a time commitment, and I may try to do it again this month if I have some free time here or there. It'll be hard now that I'm like working a full-time job. It's way different because when I did it last month, I guess last month I technically qualified before I had my full-time job. But if I'm being honest, I only played 3 or 4 days, and I would probably just play Auras and Historic again because it's probably still pretty okay.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. I think it'll. I could also play mono red and standard. You just want to play something fast.
Yeah,
that you
playing
can get
like
a lot
Soul
of
Tie
games.
and stuff would be miserable.
No, that's a. I was doing that a little bit in Historic when it was the so-called best deck, and every match took me like an hour. Like one day I woke up and was trying to just get in my 15 games for gold, and I literally played for 7 or 8 hours. I was like, this is terrible. I'm not doing this tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm playing a different deck.
Funny enough, like if we tried that Naya deck, it would be miserable too because that deck ain't quick.
No.
That deck takes some time.
Oh yeah.
And that's not how you want to do this.
No, not necessarily. When mono red is viable, I like doing that. Mono white would be a solid option.
Cycling would probably be fine.
Cycling would be
Because
fine.
cycling's
although
an aggro deck.
It is. I will say though, cycling. I think cycling actually is a pretty deep deck. There is a lot of thinking going on with cycling.
I agree.
Much more than most people would realize, because when every spell in your deck is essentially modal in the fact that it has pay 1, draw a card, and in the case of Valiant Rescuer in the main deck it has pay 2, draw a card, and depending whether or not you're playing Triome or not, which obviously we don't like, but a lot of people are doing, that's pay 3, draw a card. But when, 75% of your deck is modal, you have a ton of room for decisions and what cards you're going to play, which ones you're going to hold and cycle, when's the time to start cycling and digging for Zenith Flare, does Zenith Flare go upstairs or kill creatures? A lot of decisions in that deck, honestly. I was taking a good amount of time playing that deck because there are a ton of things to think about. So honestly, I don't know that I would play that one if I was just solely just grinding to get as many in as fast as possible. I'd probably just play mono red or mono white.
Yeah, I was going to say
those
mono
are the
white.
fastest. Those are the fastest, no question, and they're both very solid decks right now. So there's nothing wrong with just playing them. But
And in Historic you would play Auras?
I think so. Yeah.
It seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's a deck that you could grind with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been having success with Spirits in Historic, and that deck's
probably
pretty
a good one,
fast.
too. Yeah, that is a fast one.
It's a tempo-y aggressive deck.
Yeah.
It plays company.
Yep. Powerful deck, quick. Yeah.
So I definitely think those are fine. Like I said, the biggest issue that I have with ever grinding those top 1200 thing is I do Magic tournaments on the weekend, and then if I do that, Magic will start turning into or has a work feeling.
Right.
And that's like the biggest issue I have is turning Magic into that feeling, because then it's not enjoyable.
Right, you want to be having fun.
I don't want to be waking up and be like, oh, I have to play Magic today.
Right.
Like, I don't want to have that feeling.
And hell, maybe we'll keep doing, X number of hours of video making, and maybe our brews will be sweet, and maybe you'll get to Mythic that way. Who knows?
Honestly,
and if we do it that way, that's the fun way, right? That's like the way you really want to do it.
Hell, we
then
could
it's
just
fun the whole time.
make videos on tier decks and we'll get the Mythic.
Right. Yeah, that
It's
could absolutely happen.
It's not hard.
But the key is make sure it's fun, because if it's not fun, then it gets boring. Yep.
Exactly.
I agree with that, for sure.
It's just the top 1200 thing, and those last couple of days could be a headache.
Yeah, The last day is usually very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really matter where you are. If you're way up top, you usually drop, and you have to be playing to stay alive. And if you're down low, you're playing to get in. And there's almost no area is safe on that last day until you're like 2 hours away and at like 300 or whatever. But it's a scary day for sure.
Yeah, because what'd you finish at?
I think I finished at 279.
Okay.
And I stopped with like 40 minutes left in the season, and at that point I was like 250 or so. I had a very big jump. I jumped from like 800, to 250 because I was on a hot streak. I had won 5 or 6 in a row.
Yeah.
And it does somehow track that. I have no idea.
They don't have an actual formula.
No, I don't know what it is. They do. There is something. There's a formula somehow,
but there's no formula they have released.
Yeah, they haven't told you how.
People have their speculations, and you know how the Twitterverse has their
Yeah, no one knows.
Yeah.
I mean, no one knows except for whoever's doing it. I'm sure Wizards knows or somebody knows. It's not us.
I don't know that if you go on the Twitterverse and you say it, then you'll get that one person that will come to you.
Oh, they think they know. That's fine.
Actually,
that's fine. They don't know.
Once they start the line, for those that are new to if anybody comes to you in Magic and starts the sentence off with "actually," you can go Deftone on them because they probably don't know.
Yeah. But no, I mean, there's some sort of formula, and I was on a hot streak and had a really big jump after winning a good amount in a row. But yeah, so.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know. I recommend people do. Ladder's free to play. It's nice. Once you get the cards, it's like free Magic. You don't have to pay to do leagues or anything. And
if you can, get good at drafting. I mean, draft it like I am up. I think 10,000 gems on this format right now. I have played 7 drafts. I've 7 winned 6 of them. And I 5-winned the other one with a pretty solid deck, and I'm 2-0-1 right now with another very good deck. It's mono red splash 2 busted rares. And for those listening, it's mono red splash rally the ranks, which is the anthem in white. And my whole deck is dwarf berserkers, so I can literally name dwarf or berserker, and it pumps like my entire deck, other than a couple of Craven Hulks, which are in there to make my copy of Squash 2 mana, if I can set that up. And because Craven Hulk, just 4 mana 4/4 is pretty okay in this format. We were talking with Nate about that when we were playing games. That card's a lot better than it looks, just because the format's quite aggressive and you don't want to be blocking. So I'm splashing that, and then I'm splashing the 4 mana 4/4 black zombie guy that whenever you kill an opponent's creature, it comes back under your so that's so. And then the rest of all my red cards are very good too. I have another deck with 3 of the 3/2 haste. I have 3 of the 4 mana foretell get 2/2/1s. I have 2 run amucks. I have the 4 damage for 3 mana red rare that if you spend snow mana, it generates more mana or whatever. It's a very strong deck. But anyway, all this to say, play Arena. It's sweet. I mean, there are obviously some negative parts of it, but there are very good parts of it too. And if you're trying to build up a collection, getting good at limited is a good plan.
Oh yeah, definitely drafting is the best way to obtain cards on the Arena. Currency, whatever you want to call it, the Arena world of Magic cards.
Yeah.
And it's not too bad, especially if you can get into the beginning of the format, do that $50 pre-sale, you get like a sealed event and like 3 drafts. You get the Mastery Pass, so not only that,
it's a really good deal.
Your bonuses are going to get you more packs and gems and all these gold, which you can start accumulating 10k gold every time you get 10k draft with it. That's what I do with gold. Every time I hit 10,000, I draft.
Yep.
That's why almost every pack I get on Arena is gems at this point, because I can't open anything else.
Makes sense.
I still have some cards out of this set I still need to get, so I'm not getting gems yet, but I would not be shocked if I start getting gems again.
Yep.
It happens with every set.
Yep.
And that's the nature of the beast, as they say. But yeah, this episode is pretty interesting. We have an interview with Nate that we will be transitioning into not shortly, because before that, I actually sat down with Ray earlier in the week, and me and him recorded some road stories.
Yep. So all sorts of stuff on this episode, really.
Yeah. Road stories with Ray. We interviewed with Nate.
Yep.
On the touch up next week, we're actually going to do a flashback episode. We're going to visit a format of the past.
Okay.
We are going to touch the standard format when fetches were around during cons after Theros and all them left the park.
Okay.
So Thoughtseize is gone. Is
Yep.
Abzan still good is the question.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to touch on that. We'll also get to mess with some of the cool cards that came out of Dragons of Tarkir. Like,
There were a lot of them.
anybody remember Den Protector?
How about, well, actually, Manus Rider was the one before that, right?
Yeah, Manus Rider was legal. Don't get me wrong. Jeskai Black was a deck.
Yep. Deathmiss Raptor.
Deathmiss Raptor.
Sweet.
That was a funny card because it was like very popular, then it was unplayable.
Yep.
Like, it was crazy. That card had its moments in like the green-white Megamorph deck.
Yep.
Like there was, and then we had like the Surgence of Tarka Red came in and decided to join the mold.
Yep.
And this all led to the very tail end of the rally dominance, and how you had to either play rally or play geared to fight the rally.
Yep.
So it'd be cool to visit that. I'm going to have some notes and stuff rolled up for it. I'm going to be doing some research this week to pull up some statistics from it. Pull up just some good data that we can provide, like, and go down a nice little timeline for Magic. So that's going to be a fun episode.
Yeah.
We're also going to have an interview on that episode with another teammate. I believe Adam Love is coming on.
Nice. Okay.
So we'll be doing an interview with him. It's going to be an interesting interview, to say the least. It'll be a good time.
It should be very entertaining,
Yep.
if nothing else, for the listeners especially.
Yeah.
So, tune in.
So it's going to be a good episode. But now we are going to go ahead, kick over to some road stories with Raymond Perez Jr. All right, doing some road stories. We got a Sir Raymond Perez here to go and entertain us with a few stories. I don't know what sound he was trying to make there. It made me think he was trying to do like a John Cena entrance music. I know it's all we're all over the recording right now, and I technically can't see you, but you don't have to bring out your inner Cena. He's not even good anyway.
It's alright. You can't see me anyway. So.
Oh, you're right. It's because I'm too above your level since you're washed. I know shots were fired today, my friend. But no, we're going to do some road stories. We've been talking about it on our show that we're going to bring you on, but you've been selfish and being on airplanes and deciding to go party, just a reckless soul. No. But
I've done many of a lot of cocaine strippers' asses while in a sweat house with Bavarian fellas. It was an intense COVID season. Let me tell you what.
Oh yeah, that sounds like the greatest time. And then the best part about this is I'm not even gonna edit that part out. I'm gonna make sure, and I'm gonna just title the podcast. We take a deep dive into Raymond Perez and coke off the strippers.
the underground lifestyle of a past future pro.
Magic behind the dark.
It's like a VH1 story. Behind the music, behind the magic.
It reminds me of that How I Met Your Mother Behind the Music episode. I don't know if you've ever watched. Oh,
No,
I would recommend that episode. It's quite humorous, to say the least. Yeah, you've been on a few tournaments and trips you had, so I'm pretty sure you might have a story or two. And I know me and Steven did a couple road stories. I know I told our story actually from Phoenix last year, in my perspective, how we get to Phoenix and you didn't book us a hotel when it was your job.
Nope. I plead not guilty. My job was to go to Phoenix and crush fools, not to book a hotel.
So
I went to Phoenix and I didn't really crush fools. So
I know you didn't book our hotel or crush fools.
I just just made mistakes all around.
We're sitting on luggage. We're contacting people to do money wires. It was a good time.
Shout out to my sister.
Yeah. Let's shout out to Joe too. Joe kind of helped us out a little bit too in that.
That's true. Shout out to Joe.
Yeah, both of them were the real MVPs. While we were some scrubs sitting there, like, man, I hope there's a homeless shelter in Phoenix.
Yeah, I hope the convention center's open.
Like, what are y'all doing? This is my bathroom stall. At least it's warm. We're gonna be perfectly fine. We'll go sleep with the coyotes.
That's right. That's right.
But you've been to a few PTs. What was some of your earliest PTs?
Yeah. So my first PT was Pro Tour Theros. It was what kind of projected everything that was going to happen later on with like becoming in the race for Rookie of the Year, becoming Rookie of the Year. So it's definitely one of the most memorable PTs, and I have some good stories that also came of that Pro Tour. So that Pro Tour in particular, it was my first Pro Tour. I was super excited to go. I really didn't know anyone. I'd been on the PTQ season or series for a few years, so I knew like a lot of the Midwest people, but I didn't have like connections that far yet. And so I actually went with myself, but I hung out with Dan Musser. He actually works for Wizard of the Coast now, and he brought his mother because they're Irish, so you know they were doing some cool history stuff with their family during the trip. And then one of my buddies, Eric English, I met him there. He's a New York area player, really good at Legacy, good at Limited, just a fantastic guy overall. And then a couple of the people I met, Adam Jansen, for the really the first time that kind of set up the whole hot sauce gaming empire that we had for a little bit. I met him there and kind of got to see how pros really play for the first time. But the most memorable story from that tournament, there's a few, and it kind of goes in spurts. So I 6-0 limited. It started with like 3-0 day one, and then doing really well on constructed. My name online was Ray Future Pro. A lot of people knew me on the online scene at that time. So like there was whisperings in the halls, kind of like, "Oh, Ray Future Pro's crushing. Ray Future Pro's crushing," and you would hear like, you know, "Oh, I know that name from online. Who is it? Who is it?" And so like I'm sitting here playing, and you know people just keep saying like, "Hey, are you Ray Future Pro?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Ray. Why? What's up?" And they're like, "Oh, we just hear you doing really well. This is your first Pro Tour." I got a lot of gas from people, and it was awesome. It was like a really dope atmosphere. So then that night, I go to sleep, and I'm at on top of the leaderboard, getting gassed up at home, and I just can't sleep. My sleep schedule's still all messed up from being over in Europe. My room doesn't have an alarm clock. That just wasn't a thing at the or it's not even an Airbnb. It was like a bed and breakfast across the street from the hall that I was at. So like I'm like terrified of missing my draft, oversleeping. Not to mention that like they have an actual channel over in Ireland where people just gamble. It's like a shopping network for gamblers. It's just some dude reading off like bingo cards and rolling the balls, and like people can phone in and make bets. Like it's really crazy. It's like Potato Man 40, you won bingo today. So like yeah, I was watching that the whole night, and like waking up when he would like do the bell or whatever, thinking it's my alarm clock. Then I'm like, oh shit, what time is it? It's like 3 a.m. and I'm like sweating. It was miserable. So needless to say, when I finally do wake up, and Jerry Thompson was also randomly in my Airbnb place, whatever it was, the thing. And I didn't really know him at the time. Like I knew who he was, but like we didn't really know each other. So that was just kind of a cool thing too, being like, oh man, look at Jerry, that's cool. I know him, like quote unquote know. I know him now, but that's beside the point. So I wake up, I go down, eat my breakfast, drink my coffee, I go to the Pro Tour, and after drafting, I can feel that I'm super tired. So I'm like, oh no, I have to focus. I know this format really well. I draft green-white both times because it was secretly the nut. Everyone was going for mono black with like gray merchants of asphodels, and I was just out here trying to make my Nessian ass monstrous and kill everyone. So I'm swinging for lethal against Kentaro Yamamoto, And that's really when the first story kicks in, where I just don't know what's happening. I'm like just staring at him, and Kentaro was like my unofficial rival for so long because of this match, because he has like the ice eyes of death. He just stares straight through your body, sears your mind, and like you just forget your name. Like truly, it's intimidating. And I have pretty intimidating stares. So like to face someone who doesn't speak English, or he might now, I don't know. He didn't at the time. But yeah, it was just very intimidating. But I remember like attacking and just like doing my best to stare at him and not blink, that I forgot what I was doing, and he just kind of extended his hand. And I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, what's going on? And everyone on the side rail is just like, dude, you won, and I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, Kentaro's conceding, and I'm like, oh shit. And so then like I 6-0'd, and they're like, oh man, go Ray. So I'm continually getting gassed up. Then my fatigue hits. I make some bad plays throughout the day. I think it was against JVL, Jacob Van Luden, who was also one of my homies. Shout out Jacob if you randomly listen. I want to say that I was playing against him when he was playing Abzin, and I wasn't making good plays. And so I eventually, I'm playing for top 8. I have like 3 win and ends. I play against Jeremy Desani. First time I met Jeremy. He's going to be in a future story, so that was cool. Played him in a feature match. There was no clocks in the feature match at the time, which is really poor on their side. So like we actually went to time, and I made really aggressive plays with Mutavaults in game 3 that I wouldn't have made had I known how much time was left. Like I would have basically started attacking much sooner than when I did. So like that was unfortunate, but like just growing pains of like the pro circuit and me being new to the whole feature match area type thing, and whatever. But so fast forward to the very last round of the pro tour. I can't make money anymore. Or sorry, second to last round, because the very last round I drew to lock up top 16. I got like 10th, I believe. I can't remember. It's like 10th or 9th or 12th or something. I don't know. I can't remember anymore.
It was a good placing.
I used to always, yeah. I used to wonder how people can forget. Like, how can you forget your best finish? Like, what do you mean? But now I get it, because I can't remember. I literally would have to Google what my place in Pro Tour there was.
11th place because it's on your Twitter.
Okay, boom. There you go. See? Shout out to Twitter. Shout out to myself. Whenever I made that.
Shout out to yourself. Self brag.
Yeah, because like I truly couldn't tell you. I couldn't remember. But needless to say, that second to last round, I'm sitting down, I'm shuffling. I play against a local Hall of Famer from Ireland. I forgot his name, but he was like real big back in the 90s. And so how it works is all the Hall of Famers always invited to pro tours, and so a lot of times if there's a Hall of Famer who doesn't play anymore, but the pro tour is like in their state or city or country or whatever, they'll show up and just kind of play because why not type thing. So that pro tour, the devotion decks were all new. I didn't know about those decks. I didn't have a testing team. I was testing by myself. So like mono black broke out, mono red broke out, mono blue broke out. There was a green splash red devotion deck as well that also broke out that tournament. So as the tournament was progressing, I started learning more and more how to play against these decks. But then there was the red aggressive deck. That kind of just was a red aggressive deck, which I knew about because I played against that deck. It was a very normal deck. So I sit down, I'm shuffling up, I'm playing Esper Control, and he goes turn 1 like Fire Drinker Satyr, and I'm like, oh, thank God. And he's just like, what? And I'm like, oh, you're playing Fire Drinker Satyr. This isn't a good matchup for me. I just know what you're doing finally. Like this pro tour has been wild. I don't know what I'm playing against at the time. And this is also during a time when open decklist wasn't a thing. So
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. I was like, I didn't know when they actually started the open decklist procedure.
It's a very recent thing, like probably over the last couple of years. For my whole career, that was not a thing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we didn't have open deck lists. The only time open deck lists existed were if you top 8 at a tournament, then they would show you the deck list because a lot of them were streaming. So like they wanted everyone to be on an unfair advantage. But so Kai Bude is sitting next to me, and he's my all-time second pro. He's probably my favorite pro now, but at the time John Finkel was still my favorite pro, and Kai Bude was my very close. He's the person I respect the most in Magic because of his work ethic and just how dominant he was. And so he's sitting next to me, and I'm like, going on about how this is a terrible matchup, but I know what's going on. And he's like, wait a minute, are you Ray Future Pro? And I was like, yeah, it's me. And he's like, I heard about you, man. Congrats. And I was like, thanks, Kai. I appreciate that, bro. Like, that's awesome. Guys, he still hits me up randomly on Facebook. Like,
Nice.
random messages. Yeah, like, they're like, oh, what's good? I'm looking at status or post something. I don't know. Kai's cool. I like Kai. But yeah, so that was an awesome feeling. That's a really memorable thing. I also met the Germans the first time, which also connect to another story. Lucas Teak, one of my buddies, who's German. He hangs out with all the Germans. Introduced me. He knew Kai, so like he was also another way that I started talking to Kai later on, because Kai was always part of their team, testing. And so when I met Lucas, he didn't know who I was. He had no reason to believe anything that I said when I told him like this is my first pro tour or anything like that. He literally took the mono blue devotion deck, flipped it over on the table, spread it out, and told me how to beat it. He's like, this is our plan. We have 3 ether links. We have Jace's, blah, 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 blah. This is how you beat it. And I was like, why are you doing this? He's like, I don't know. You seem cool. And so I took that information, and next round I played against Huey Jensen, who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I dumpstered him because I knew what he was doing, because Lucas had told me about the mono blue deck. So like little things like that are just like memories that I'll always have. And Lucas, I hung out with him at multiple different pro tours. He actually slapped me at the second pro tour in Spain, like physically slapped me when he we were playing Birthing Pod, and he was like, how do I sideboard in this matchup? And I was like, I don't know, I just started playing this deck on Wednesday, which is like 2 days before this. And he smacked me and he said, no time for your games. And I said, what? And he's like, never mind, I'll figure it out. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he came back, he's like, I beat him. And I was like, cool, how'd you sideboard? Like, you never told me.
He's just like, bitch slap.
Yeah, he really did. It was so funny. It was awesome.
Were you upset in any form or no?
No, not at all. It was just it was so surprising to me that some random dude just slapped me at a pro tour and told me no time for your games.
You're gonna learn today, sucker.
Yeah, it was so funny to me. And then fast forward, like this is like a year later. We're back in Spain for another pro tour, and I'm talking to Bernie, who's another German player that I met, and he's like one of the regulars from like the PT Europe scene. And he was telling me how Lucas was his best friend, how they like went to college together, and like they knew each other, and like they would go to vacation together. And he's like, yeah, like we just get drunk and like we'll just like fight each other in the cottages. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that makes way more sense why he just willy-nilly slapped me just casually. Like you guys are just brutes. So. Yeah, Europeans are fun. Shout out to all the Europeans. I don't know if they listen to this. Andre Mengucci, met him from the Pro Tour scene. Went out, partied with him a few times.
Did he show you any of his legacy videos?
This is before he made those.
Oh, really? Oh, this is the OG.
Yeah, I actually have a video on my computer of Alessandro Portalo. He's a European from or he's Italian. It was the year that Mengucci, Alessandro, Matteo, and I forget Samuele. That was Team Italy, and I met all of them that year at Worlds.
Oh, nice.
Qualified, and so we all hung out. That is also a segue into my second story that I have. Worlds. I'm just gonna tell it like it is, man. I'm just gonna tell it like it is. This is PT After Dark stories, okay? So all the viewers, all the listeners, get ready. I don't know if you want to say anything before I tell the second story. Got some questions, anything?
In regards to your first one, was this what you said? This is the event that jump-started you into the Rookie of the Year contention?
Yep. So Rookie starts on your very first Pro Tour. That was the first Pro Tour of the season. And so my top 16 put me in a huge lead into the Pro Tour season. And then I hit all the GPs I could, went to all 4 Pro Tours that season, and got second, but then eventually became first because first place was a cheater.
Yeah, you won by default. We know the story on that. But we let me and Steven have a thing where we take those.
I mean,
You're not gonna give it back like that ain't how I want this next time. No,
yeah.
for sure. Do you get any special? Yeah, you went to Worlds, right? And that's what you're jump starting into is covering Worlds, correct?
Yep. So it gave me gold status. Eventually, not immediately, but eventually it did give me gold status, which qualified me for the whole second year of Pro Tours automatically with flights. And then they also gave me the Worlds invite for being rookie, so I got to go to Worlds that year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they immediately took it away the next year. I can't really recall. 'Cause I
Like
kept
took away
swapping every
Worlds?
year World. Yeah, well, no, like the rookie slot.
Okay.
I think they took that slot away the next year because they kept doing weird things with the world stuff. They every year they would kind of tweak it a little bit. Like the year that Brian Bronduin won Worlds, they took away they didn't allow the winner to go back, and then they eventually changed that. So yeah, they just kept tweaking it. So ongoing thing.
Yeah, that's similar to how they're changing the PT system. Now it's the championship. The new PT is like Kaldheim Championship, and then we had the Zendikar Rising Championship, and then that's pretty much what they're calling it now is Championship, not Pro Tour or anything like that. So,
Right.
so similar thing. Now, before we go on the Worlds, just so everyone knows, how did you qualify for Theros? That was your first PT. Did you do it online or in paper?
No, so now I think about it, I've never won an online Pro Tour, at least one back in the day. I top 8 maybe 2 or 3 total ever online, but I grinded all of them in paper. That season, so back then, they had a PTQ on every Saturday and every Sunday if you wanted to drive. So at the start of the Pro Tour season or PTQ season to the end of it, you could go to 10 to 16 PTQs if you really wanted to drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always be down to drive. I would always try and get a car together or join a car who was going somewhere. And so that particular PTQ, it was held at BC Comics when they were still in Fenton, and I was on Team Perfect Storm at the time, the Grand Rapids team that Carter Hatfield owns that store.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an awesome time. All those guys are lovely. I love Carter. I love everyone in Michigan from that side of. That was some of my best times were with those guys. I have a lot of good stories from opens and PTQs with that whole crew. But so that was a culmination. I debated a ton of PTQs back in the day. The numbers in the 30s at least. No exaggeration. I was top 8ing PTQs, not left and right. Every type of format, extended, modern, sealed, constructed, didn't matter. I was top 8ing. I could never win it, but I was consistently top 8ing.
Just so people that are listening knows, what was extended exactly?
So extended is the grandfather of historic and modern.
Okay.
It's basically how modern was, but it rotated. So it was a giant standard that rotated.
Okay, so
instead of having the last 2 years, it was the last 6 or 8 years, and then it would kick stuff out eventually. Dual lands were a part of extended at one point, and then they got pushed out once more sets were released. And so it eventually is what modern replaced.
In your opinion, which one's better?
Extended.
Extended. It probably stays more fresh with a rotation.
Yeah, it does. There's definitely potential for it to be stale, but I just have a huge nostalgia for a lot of the older cards. Some of the best memories, the Magic cards I have were during extended periods. They had. It just went back super far, so that's all. It was just more of a reminiscence type thing. It's no different than people who probably started playing Magic at the beginning of Modern, or when the sets first came out for Modern. When they play that, they probably have a huge amount of nostalgia playing whatever it is they're playing.
Yeah, well, nostalgia comes with Magic in general because, we could think back to do you remember Eldrazi Winter, for example? Wasn't that crazy? I definitely do. I just had a memory today about. I was doing a limited Oath of the Gatewatch qualifier. It was like a super qualifier or something on Moto I was doing, and I ended up going 3-2 because you had to go 4-1 to qualify for the actual big tournament. And it was
nice.
heartbreaking.
I played Eldrazi Winter Pro Tour, and I also played Grand Prix Detroit. during Eldrazi Winter.
Oh yeah, you played Infect at that Pro Tour, if my
Yep,
memory serves
correct.
correctly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we can go back to back on track of you were talking about Worlds a little bit. So
Oh yeah, yep. So
so you're qualified for Worlds at this point.
yep. So got qualified for Worlds. WotC paid for the flights. They paid money for showing up. They paid for our lunch and dinner. I don't think. Well, maybe it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I got my own room to myself. It was a giant two-bed suite at the Omni Hotel. Um, and or maybe it wasn't called the Omni, but it was whatever the hotel that they had the event at in France. So that was dope. But needless to say, I was there by myself because, of course, it's World, so there's only 24 players. The only people that are allowed in the tournament hall were the players and coverage people. Like outside people were not allowed at all. So, not that I had anyone there, but even if I did, it's not like they could come inside and like cheer you on or talk to you. So this is where I was going to get into the whole story about like or Magic After Dark, this, that, and the other. I won't say the stories because I respect people's privacy when they told me like some pretty cool stories. We had a meet and greet the day before the tournament started,
Mm-hmm.
where it was open bar. They wanted everyone to kind of say hi to everyone. So, um, truthfully, everyone kind of introduced themselves. Like, um, it's very cliquish at the top of Pro or Magic, as surprise to no one. I know, crazy.
What are you talking
But
about, clickish? When did
yeah,
this
so like
start?
yeah, you're telling me. So I unfortunately was not part of the elite cliques. So it was like all of Channel Fireball people were together, like Huey Jensen, Owen Turtwall, Reed Duke, Raptor, whoever else is part of Channel Fireball at that Worlds. They were
Mm-hmm.
all hanging out with each other. Then you had all the Japanese pros hanging out with each other. Then you had the European guys who knew each other over here in the corner. And then like it was like a dance almost, where it's kind of like everyone kind of would mosey on to the table and, oh, hi, I'm Ray, nice to meet you. Oh, cool, I'm Owen, blah 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 blah. Or it's like, oh, hi, I'm Ray. Oh, I'm Willie Edel, or whatever. I met all these people. They're all cool. Willie, shout out to Willie. I really wish I would have play tested with the Brazilians the one pro tour. I don't regret it. I just wish it was a possibility because they are they're dope people. But but yeah. So needless to say, I wasn't part of any of these cliques, so I kind of just started talking to like the broadcasters and the coverage people, and getting drunk with them. And it's like 1, 2 in the morning. Tournament starts at 9 a.m. I know I'm an underdog. I'm not here to try and win worlds. It's just not a possibility with that much talent in the room. Like I'm not under any false pretenses that I'm there to do anything but to have a good time.
Right.
So
That's the
I'm thinking
best
to
way to have a
myself,
good time is not setting your bar too high.
yeah, yeah, like I'm gonna give it my all, but I'm not thinking that I'm gonna beat Reed Duke in a nail biter when he's on top of his game, or LSV, or like that's just, come on. Anyone out there that thinks that, you guys are lying. Like it's fine to gas yourself up, but be realistic. Come on.
That's like me going to my first PT and be like, I'm winning this. There's no way I'm not. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Like it's cool to have that mindset, but like at the same time, temper it.
exactly. Like, if you set your bar too high, you're gonna leave disappointed. Do you really want your weekend to be just full of disappointment? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
so
And like,
I.
you got to pick your battles. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that I would have a shot at a pro tour where like not only do the best have to get through everyone, but they also have a chance to get varianced out. When the whole field is stacked, like I'm the fish. Let's be honest. I'm the
Yeah.
fish. I'm okay with that. It's okay to acknowledge that. No harm, no foul. Like I knew my role type
Yeah,
thing.
you're a
I
fish
was
in a
happy to
shark
be there.
tank. You know,
Yeah, like
it happens.
I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to be in the conversation. So, needless to say, I'm 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 having a good time. I'm getting plastered. I hear some cool stories from people, and I go to sleep. Next day, I wake up pretty hungover. Like, okay, let's do it. I'm gonna give it my best and see what happens. So everyone at the tournament gets minimum one feature match. Like that's just the rules. So uh, the first draft pod is, of course, stacked. It's all Hall of Famers and Platinum pros. And so I get bodied. I play Josh Utterlay in Raptor. Round one, he has an insane blue green madness deck from Vintage Masters, complete with a Mock Sapphire. So he just dumpsters me very fast, no problem. Round two, I get beat. So my one feature match of this whole tournament, round three, I'm paired against Reed Duke. It might have been round two, but it was against Reed Duke in the feature match area, and he's playing Storm. It's a temporal Storm deck where it just bounces all the permanents to your hand and kills you with something. Doesn't really matter when you have no permanents on the field. So he's beating me. We're both 0-2 or 0-1. Like we're both losing. I 0-3 that draft pod, but he he's just in the process of comboing me off, and you see the camera pan over, and you hear Marshall go like, "Let's check in on the next feature match. Here we have Raymond Perez versus Reed Duke," or however he says it, and it's just Reed bouncing my whole board. They're like, "And we're done." So that's my one feature match claim to fame at Worlds is just not great, not a great moment. So it it is what it is. But so then, fast forward, we get to lunch, and this is the story that when I tell people, sometimes people don't believe me, but it's just what happened. I don't know, like I have no reason to lie about it. But it's just like if you ever watch a movie and you see the scene where like the new kid comes into school and it's lunchtime and everyone has their cliques and they're just kind of walking around with the tray of food and they're trying to figure out where to sit and no one kind of invites them to sit down, so they just sit down by themselves and it's a really sad moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
That literally happened verbatim for myself. I have my food that they provide for us and I go to look to see if anyone, if I can sit with anyone, and literally everyone just is doing their thing. They're not acknowledging me. No one's like, "Hey, come on over here." No one cares. They truly don't care. I mean, it's the truth. Like I get it, no harm, no foul type thing, but like it happened, and so then I just basically sit by myself, and it was a miserable experience. Worlds wasn't fun until other people showed up, until the Canadians, until the Italians, until the Germans, until the Spanish, like until the actual people started showing up. Because how it worked was we played on Monday, Tuesday. I want to say Wednesday was a break. Then Thursday, Friday, the world teams played, and then Saturday, Sunday it was like top 8, whatever stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question: is why was other people showing up if it was just you 24 players? I didn't know there was like a team event or whatnot. I don't follow Worlds that closely, so I don't know.
Yeah, and they also changed it, like I said. So at the time, Worlds was being ran next to the Team Worlds. So like, but they didn't play at the same time. Like I said, we had our own individual days. They had their own individual days, and then there was like Sunday was like the top 8 and the top 4 or whatever they did.
Did they allow spectators for the team ones?
For the Worlds, they did because it was huge, But for the actual World tournament, they didn't. Like when the Worlds people got there, they weren't even allowed into our Worlds. They had to wait outside or do whatever.
Okay.
But so yeah, so like and at this time, like I said, this is after my first pro year, so I got really close with some of the Europeans. I hung out with a lot of the Germans, the Italians. Made my connections. For whatever reason, the American players just are very cliquey and very judgmental. And I'm sorry for anyone, but it's the truth.
That's very true. Like,
so
we won't put anybody on blast by any means, but like,
yeah, but like I personally vibe with Europeans and kind of like the minority groups more than the whoever. I'm not going to say any names, but like it is what it is. So but needless to say, I love all the Europeans and everyone. They're all cool people. And so when they showed up, then it was like a light moment. It was like my eyes lit up like a kid in a candy store. I was like, oh my god, my friends are here. This is going to be so awesome. And then everything kind of just washed away. It was awesome. And then I actually helped the Europeans scout the Americans in Worlds.
traitor.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I didn't care about anyone on the U.S. team. I was personally invested in the Canadian team and the Italian team. My buddy Dave Goldfarb, he was on Team Canada. It was him, Insane Hane, Dan Fournier, and who was their fourth? Sean McLaren, I want to say. Maybe it was Sean. It might have been Sean McLaren. I don't know. I can't remember their fourth player off the top of my head. But needless to say, they were testing with the Italians, and that's how I got really close to all the Italians too. And so like it was just every day. It was the two groups of us and myself, and we would just go to lunch, play test together. And when the tournament came time to be ran, I was one of the scouters in the field because my tournament's already over to scout for all the teams.
Yeah, that's nice. So how it happened, they pretty much gave you the cold shoulder during lunch or dinner, whatever meal that was. You sat there at your own table, thinking you're gonna get them back. So, 48 hours later, you're scouting, be like, the one thing I could take away from y'all is this team tournament. Y'all going to eat lunch with me next time.
Yeah, you can look at it that way. I don't want to eat lunch with them, but yeah.
But you'll never forget that first
I
impressions
really
are everything.
100%. And I'm a very real, down to earth person. And yeah, there's just some people, the clout chasers and the other type of people out there. Like that's just not me, man. Magic's a game. At the end of the day, I have these awesome experiences and really cool friends because of it. But leave it on the table, man. Like you walk into a convenience store and your Magic ELO rating or MPL status means 0. You have to be a good person.
Exactly, I agree. It's kind of funny. I tell Steven and them this all the time. I always find it funny when I interact with somebody and they're kind of dickish to me at first. Then they see me talk. We're chilling, fucking around, and then they're all it's like sociable with me, and I'm like, these fuckers, like happens like once per event. I swear, it's so funny. At this point, it's funny. At first, it was really freaking annoying, but at this point, I'm used to it. I get it. They want to be because they see you. They know you're one of the good players in the room, like. So they want to make sure they could be like, oh, he must be cool if he's hanging out with him, which I really don't give a damn either way at this point. But like I said, at first I'd be like, oh, this asshole right here. Now I'd be like, oh, fuck him. At the end of the day, I'm a better person than them anyway. They could beat me in a card game. I don't care. Like, I'm going to be fine tomorrow. If I lose a round of Magic, I'm going to wake up and still live my life. Like.
And I think that there's a good line to have where I take the game very seriously. I don't anymore. Not to say I won't in the future. It's just under the current situation of the world, there's just no reason to take Magic seriously. I love the game. I still play it. I'm very passionate about it still. It's just until the Pro Tour comes back to what it was, or whatever they want to brand it as, that's fine. Until in-person events come back, like there really isn't a reason to care about it. But at the same time, it was an awesome period of my life. A lot of my identity came from it. A lot of my personal connections and professional connections even are all from Magic, which is awesome. But all of that's not possible if you're not a good person. Like if you're just a person who wants to sit at the table with the cool kids at whatever Open or whatever F&M or whatever the event is, it doesn't matter. Like that has the shelf life. That has an expiration date. And like those people do not care about you, just like what you think you care about is not real either. So like that's why at the end of the day, I didn't care about the clicks. People will gravitate towards me if they want. I'm a very open, caring person, so I have no problem befriending anyone. But at the same time, like I'm not here to win over people. Like I truly could care less. Like if you want to be my friend, that's cool. I'm not gonna chase it. That's not who it is. That's not what this life is. There's just too much time to devote other ways.
Yeah, if somebody in this community don't like you because, let's say an example, I don't like him because I don't respect him as a player. Like, one, you're just a shitty person to have that kind of mindset. So you're probably not somebody worth wanting to have interaction with anyways. And what sucks is I know a few Magic players that are quote-unquote grinders that have that kind of mentality, and it's wild to me. Like, you don't talk to somebody because they're not as good as you. Like, what? Like,
yeah,
that's really so weird. Yeah,
Yeah, especially because like Magic is such a finite game. Like, just because they're not good now doesn't mean they're not going to be good in a year. And guess what they're going to remember? You being a dick to them.
and
Like,
not only that, that mindset is super subjective. Like
yeah,
super
absolutely.
subjective. There's nothing objective about like he's not as good as me. From what standards are you basing it on? Like you've been grinding for 2+ years. This dude's played like a couple events. How is that a fair comparison? You know, like that's like how are you in your first 2 events compared to his first 2 events? Or like
Right.
I just
Absolutely.
I hate that kind of stuff. Like if I sit there, like don't get wrong, I talk shit all day. There's a difference between talking shit and actually disliking someone because they suck. Like I tell you, you suck. I think I've said on this recording a few times you were washed.
I am washed, except for that 2 Gs I made over the weekend.
Yep, and your Discord go.
Oh,
You know, you learned
there's no
everything from
rules
me.
against typos.
You're right. You are right. See, you gotta do what I do. I recorded the open. I just didn't win. Okay, I did it. I did it the ethical way. I sucked while playing. Why don't you suck?
I tried sucking real bad, but unfortunately, my opponents, I guess, made more mistakes than I did. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I didn't play test the format. I did play test my decks. Folger jumped on with me and we were, running different builds, which is kind of cool. That was really cool. It's like having unlimited build time at a GP.
Yeah, no that. So we were talking about that one because I know Magic isn't the same. You know, I definitely miss it because remember what my lifestyle was before the pandemic started.
Yeah.
I was on the road like almost every weekend. I don't think I might have been on the road the most in the state. I'm at least damn close to the top.
Yeah, you were on the road more than I. Well, I would say comparable to me when I was grinding PPQ Star 4, and I was one of the most active players in the state.
Yeah, because I love just traveling every weekend. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I don't like dwell on it, but I get to I hit points where I just start being like I start really having those withdrawals, like because
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
wasn't even the tournaments. The tournaments or whatever. I just like the traveling with the people. Um, you know, hell like the PT in Phoenix, right? I don't think any of us did particularly exciting in the event. You know, you made day 2, which was really good. Boger, he got like in the finals. Well, I believe he got in the finals of those little last chance qualifiers twice, wasn't it? It was at least
Yeah.
once. So I wouldn't say we did particularly exciting or anything like that, but the outside range, hell, you went and got a haircut in Phoenix.
Yeah, dude, I got a haircut. I was having good old conversations with the lady whenever we'd get home for the night. Had the towel party.
Oh yeah. You'd be like, "Hey, lady, let me get them towels."
Yeah, I need 12. We're having a towel party. You're invited.
I remember us the basketball game getting out, and we're trying to get that Uber.
Yeah.
That one was fun. I know we went to Walmart in Phoenix.
Yeah, man. That's how you do
Like,
it.
and that's after trying to figure out where we were gonna stay because you didn't book our hotel like you were supposed to.
Whoa.
Listen, you can. I accept the responsibility when I went with Buzzy and I had the hotel situation. So now that it's your fault, you're going to take responsibility for this. Not only on that, right? Let's also look on the big blunder when you decided to book a flight that had a layover and made this big guy have to rush across an airport just to get there, and the plane wasn't even loading on time.
hey, it's not a magic trip unless you have to run for your life.
I've
Another flight.
actually never had a layover flight until that day.
Really? I've had plenty. So when Watsy would book flights, you would tell him where you want to fly out of and when you would want to fly out, and they would book the flight for you. Needless to say, they would not book the best flights sometimes. And because I'm flying and I get to choose, I would always fly out of Lansing, so I would always have a layover from Lansing to Detroit.
Yeah.
But generally, it was like Detroit to Chicago to somewhere else, or like there was another layover in between, and they were long. I had an 8-hour layover in Paris.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was me and 2 other people, Deshaun Babelak, a Michigan grinder from back in the day, and I forgot who else was with us, but we all flew out because we were all going to Spain together, and we literally stayed in the Paris hotel, or not, sorry, the Paris airport for 8 hours, and they were sleeping in like the common area, and I was the one who was on guard duty because I didn't trust anyone from stealing our stuff while we were sleeping.
Right.
Because we were clearly American.
So. Yeah, it's when you're in a place like that. Y'all didn't go. Like, what time did y'all get there? The start of the layover.
So I know that we landed in the morning. It's 8 hours ahead of us. It's like a 12-hour flight total. 8 hours over the Atlantic and then 4 hours. So I couldn't really tell you honestly. Well, all I know is that the airport doesn't have windows, so it doesn't matter.
I know. I didn't know if it was like worth to go check something out when you're in Paris.
Oh no. So it was definitely daytime because we did try that. We went outside to go see how close we were to anything, but the nearest place in the Paris airport was like an hour and a half away. So we weren't about to Uber somewhere, spend like 200 euros to get there, do something for 2 hours, and then come back for another 200 euros. So we just
How big is Paris?
I couldn't tell you. Never been outside the airport.
No, if everything's like an hour and a half away, was the airport like a suburb?
Maybe.
It must be for an hour and a half away. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But
My favorite part about that was things you can't say in the airport. You can't say bomb, right, or blowing up or anything like that, right? Because
Yeah.
airport security will flip out. And so when me and Deshaun were walking, I went to go say, and I didn't even think about it, but we were right next to security guards, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go blow up the bathroom. They looked at us all crazy, and I was like, that means going to use the bathroom. I'm American, I'm so sorry. And they didn't do anything, thankfully, but I for sure thought that was gonna be it. That was gonna be it.
instantly tackled.
Yeah.
Like, no, not like this.
Learn the hard way. Don't say I'm gonna go blow up the bathroom next to airport security. And the French, they're like French military. They all have like MP5s and semi-automatic rifles just chilling on their chest. Like, they're serious.
Yeah, they don't play around. So where have all the locations you've traveled for PTs and GP so far?
Oh, let's see.
Like countries. Let's just list off countries. Like remembering every like city would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so let's see. I've been to Canada.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it counts. It's a better country than U.S. I count it.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan's basically Canada, but definitely not.
I don't know. My health insurance bills say otherwise.
That's fair. But yeah, so outside of Canada, I've never been to Mexico. I've been to Ireland. I've been to Spain twice. Barcelona, Madrid. I've been to France for Nice, France for Worlds. I've been to Brussels and Belgium for that Pro Tour. And I think that's it. I think that's all the places. Because I went to Europe, or Ireland twice, Spain twice.
I remember you were supposed to go to Japan, weren't you? But you couldn't get the time off.
Yeah, work wouldn't give me the time off.
That's unfortunate.
And I was also, same thing with Australia.
Okay. So I didn't know about the Australia one. I just remember the Japan one. That's unfortunate because that's like a place I would love to go is Japan.
Yeah, Japan and Australia both were on my bucket list to go to. And yeah, that was the last year. That was like 2016 or 17 when I kind of took a step away from Magic just because work was not being flexible at all anymore.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Like, at the end of the day, Magic wasn't a full-time job. It isn't like how they have the MPL now.
Right,
Wouldn't that have been a cool thing to get a part of back then? You would imagine getting paid like that, signing a contract to get like a year's worth of pay just to play Magic. Like,
yeah, that would have been awesome. That was the dream, man. That was the dream. Back then, it was trying to hit Platinum because Platinum basically was an MPL contract. You got like, you got all your flights paid for, all your hotels paid for. You got show-up bonuses every time you went to a Grand Prix. So that's why all those pros always stayed on the Pro Tour because they essentially got paid to play Magic.
right. Yeah, I think
And, yeah.
I think the way to be a professional Magic, if you aren't on the NPL, I think you have to be in the streaming or YouTubing.
Yeah. Yep. Nowadays.
I guess Patreon. Yeah, Patreon's content creation, writing articles. Doing a Patreon with like sideboard guides and things of that. And
Not gonna lie, I totally even forgot Patreon existed. No one in Call of Duty or poker uses Patreon, so I totally forgot it existed.
No, I wouldn't be shocked if poker players start using Patreon like to write like little guides and stuff. Like it's not like sideboard guides. It's not like that, but you know what I mean. Like how they got like little self-help books and things like that. I haven't played poker since the last time we all played poker. It's been a grip.
Yeah.
So
It's legal now.
you said what? It is legal.
It's legal now.
I'm not a big online poker person. Never really. One, I feel like you need to be doing like double Q stuff, and that's not really my thing. At least for poker, it ain't. In addition to that, I like the reading people aspect. There's reading people still online, but it's not like in comparison to like when you're an actual real table. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like
For sure.
I like the sitting at the table when you have a tough call decision. Whatever side you're on, whether you're the one making the call or you're the one waiting for the action to be determined against you because you say you pushed or you re-raised them and they're sitting there and they're tanking. That's some of the best feelings right there. Whether what side you are, it's just so exciting to me. Like that's the one thing about poker. You have that in Magic too, but not. It ain't the same. Like
Right.
that tanking in poker, it's exhilarating for sure. Those that don't play poker won't even know. Like that's why I enjoy doing those little when they had that little charity room, which I have no idea how if they're gonna even survive. I have no.
Ooh, probably not, honestly.
Like I don't know. Yeah, I know they closed the one that was in in the parking lot, of our local game store, but I don't know about the one across the street. I think it was there the last time I was by there, so I'm not too sure. So you talked about the Pro Tours. Do you have any cool stories from like just driving out to like those? You talked about those PTQs. Are those the same setup of PTQs as they have now?
So it's similar. It's winner takes all. So winner goes to the Pro Tour, gets a full
Right.
page for it. Loser would usually get a box. And then top 8. Generally, sometimes got a box, sometimes different, but it was similar. It was similar style. Open deck list, like I said, did not exist. So you couldn't. No, you would have to scout. Scouting was a huge part of Magic. Just like in between rounds, going to look to see what people are playing. Talk to other people, trying to figure out like what deck they're on, what sideboard cards do they have, stuff like that. That was a huge part of in between conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that was a very normal thing. Like whoever your car was, if you top 8'd, the rest of the car would scout for you while you're playing your first round of top 8, so that if you won, you would have information on the rest of the top 8. It was a widely regarded practice. It wasn't scummy because everyone did it, and that's just kind of what happened. If you didn't have a team, then that was unfortunate, but like that's why they eventually made open deck lists, because of that feel bad moment. But like, I mean, it is what it is.
So it's pretty much similar to what Folger was doing for us at the PT during the draft.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
yep, where he would go and look at people's draft. Yep, that's exactly.
Yep. How he would like wander around because you have the guardrails. You can't go inside it like into the tables and go all into it there. But if you're outside the guardrails, it's open game.
Right. Yep. 100%.
Okay. Done some of that like at GPs and stuff, especially when you're like in the top, you're getting to the top 8, you're getting towards the end of the tournament. You'll pay attention to what's around you, what people are on, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
but-
Briefing at opens, same process.
Yeah, I know. I don't imagine open deck lists will be a thing come like when GPs and opens do return, except for like top 8 and stuff. I can't imagine that they'd actually pull off open deck lists because would they even have the staff to pull something like that off? Because if they still did player meetings, I guess it would be possible. That's true. Yeah, they'd have to go back
Not
to
100%.
player matings because you'd have to print out, like, let's say an open has 800 players, for example. Let's say 800 to 1,000 players. Let's say it's a good format like Modern or something that usually draws well. So 800 to 1,000 players, they'd have to print out 800 to 1,000 deck lists. And then they'd have to sit there and have the judges pass them all out. Just seems like a hassle because typically a PT is only going to have, what, like 300 to 400 players usually? Is that the number?
So yeah, when I was playing 400, 420 was about normal.
Okay. I don't know how many ours had.
It was, I think, like 520, 550, something like that.
Yeah, that would make sense. It definitely was a decent size. Like, they hooked up that huge convention center for us,
Right.
which I think they had to because it was the first Players Championship, dun dun dun. The last Players Championship, dun dun dun, because they decided to change the name 75 times since. Imagine how it would have felt that your first PT, you finally queued, you'd sit there like you've been waiting your whole Magic career to play in the Pro Tour. They're like, all right, sign up on Arena because that's where you have to play. Like,
That's your domain now, boy.
like that would be awful. I don't know. I just know if I had to do the first one on Arena, it wouldn't have felt the same. Like, how could it though?
Yeah.
You know,
It's a totally different feeling. There's a lot of stuff that's very different, but you know.
like the
The breaks.
Yep. One, no limited. Like,
Yeah, no. Limited is such a skill tester. It's definitely needed. I'm not sure exactly why that's even a debate sometimes, but you know, I know people like what they like, but at the same time, like, there's no doubt that the best in limited are miles ahead of constructed players. Constructed, there's a lot of power level, there's a lot of play, but a lot of the stuff is very autopilot-y.
mm-hmm.
You know, there's definitely edges to be gained, but like the edge for being good at constructed and the edge of being good at limited are miles apart.
The big part of limited is the players that can take the worst of pools and actually do well with them.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's an art form.
Exactly.
Making, you know, knowing when to shock your opponent with a Bone Crusher Giant isn't exactly rocket science.
Like, oh, buddy, it's like I always use the expression when I see somebody takes what on paper, on just like paper value, this pool ain't gonna get hardly any wins, and then this person will go like X2. Just
yeah.
that's called take a chicken shit and make it into chicken salad right there. If that ever was an expression to be used, that right there would fit it. Because I've seen, like, watching, like, limited coverage. Because I used to hate watching limited coverage. Now it's some of my favorites to watch. And that came because I used to hate limited. And that's because I never won. Because I sucked ass. And I think that... It's a very hard format, and I was like, oh, it's all luck. It's all luck, because I sucked at it. So that was going to be my mindset for it, it's all luck because I suck at it. So it must be luck. You know? But now that I played it more, I watch actual people play, and I was like, yo, this is a very interesting format. That's another thing. Magic's a weird game where every format feels like a new game to me. Like, Legacy's its own game, Modern's its own game. That's why it was been so weird in this last year. Not only have we dealt with COVID, but every format's been shit. Because the power creep that Magic had. It's just been... It's been wild.
Different. Yeah,
like...
I'm excited to see where Magic is finally when we can play again in person. Because it should be in a much better place overall.
Yeah, it's going to be very unfortunate because I don't expect Magic this year. I'm just going to... put that out there.
I wouldn't. I don't.
We're not ever gonna get to play with companions in standard. Like, we're gonna miss out on the actual chance to play companions. It is a shame that we won't get to play with companions or mutate cards without adventure cards in the format. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be cool to. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to play. I just want to play with Snow. Like, as long as we can play Magic while Snow exists.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
You like Snow, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah, I think that the art's just gorgeous, and I think the mechanics just pretty cool.
Yeah, the art is nice. No doubt about that. Like those, I wish they would have just did full art basics. Like,
Yeah, I kind of dig them though. I like the aesthetic. They're very pretty to look at.
that's fair. I haven't really looked at them too much in paper. I bought some Kaldheim packs because I'm actually working on a standard collection for when Magic does return. I'll actually have the cards. So they have. I don't know if you've seen the new booster packs they have. So
I have not. No.
if you don't want to draft, they have a booster packs that come with they come with 12 cards and they usually come with more than one rare in them. They can come up to 3. So they're best for collecting cards but not drafting. So, I'm just trying to collect cards. Yeah, because I got like a foil pathway. I've gotten a couple of the dragon already, the Goldspan Dragon, I think it's called. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty nice. I actually got one of the Goldspan Dragons in the pathway in the same pack. So yeah, they're just good for collecting. So I'm a big fan of them. I just know I don't know when we're coming back to paper. I don't think anybody listening to this knows either, because I doubt anybody in the CDC and them is like I'm gonna listen to a Magic podcast today. You know what? We need to work on it to get them back into the venue. Biden priorities. Yeah, we have been waiting for a podcast to mention this. No, we can only do the waiting game. I know I'm still gonna be playing on Arena because we don't really have a choice. That's the likelihood. I will say MTG Melee is an awesome website, though. I gotta give them props. That site's actually really cool. I have no idea.
I haven't really been on their website, but I enjoyed it when I used it, like back when Discord and all that stuff was first starting.
It's been so much better since that first Red Bull event.
Oh, really?
Do you remember that Red Bull event?
Oh, how can I forget?
Oh.
It was the best rain tournament ever.
Oh. See, it wasn't even their fault, which is the funny thing, because nobody wants to listen to instructions when they say don't refresh the page, so it overworked the site, and it crashed it. So, because people just don't listen. And that's so silly.
Yeah. They tell them to, do one thing, and everyone did exactly the opposite. So
wasn't it like 2.5 hours per round? I feel like
it was absurd.
It was insane.
It was 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. when I think round 3 or 4 was done, and I just called it quits. I didn't care anymore. I was just over it.
Yeah, Steven actually stayed up and played every round. Like,
that's so much dedication.
He is a madman, because I would not. I went like 0-1, and I was like, I'm out. Like, I'm going to go to sleep. I don't think my deck was particularly exciting already, and that just like solidified. I think I was playing Teamer Ramp. It might be,
yeah.
And I think I was up against it was either Gruul or Mono Red, and I got bollywopped. Like, it wasn't close. They were just smack. Like, I was like, oh boy. It was not fun. And then I seen how long it took the actual get through the rounds, and I was like, nope. This ain't for Team Larry.
Yeah, it was not one of my most happiest tournaments. But they did take a risk. That was cool. I hope that Red Bull eventually will come back.
They did a bunch of events after that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
they didn't lose faith.
Oh yeah, they did a ton of them, and they ran way better after that one. So it's fair. And also Melee had more events under their belt too, and I think Melee actually, because they were already in the process, they had to really up their plan with the pandemic starting, because I don't think they were anticipating that they were going to be the website for Magic tournaments for the next year.
Right.
They were just expecting it's gonna be cool that people can run online F&Ms and stuff. This is gonna be nice, and they're like, guess what? We're gonna be running a pro tour on MTG Melee. Like, what? What did you say?
Yeah. So
I gotta give them props for stepping up when we needed it, because we can't go with no Magic. Well, some can. Because, like, James Johnson hasn't played a single game of Magic since. Technically, you have made an Arena PT.
How so?
Because you made the Arena PT when you made it through the CFP last year's qualifiers.
Oh yeah, it's true. I totally forgot I even played that.
Yeah. Didn't you get?
Yeah.
Didn't they pay everybody for that event?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like
okay,
$200 or something like that. I don't remember honestly.
You want to know how annoying it is that? So here's how it went. They were like, we're paying everybody $500 minimum. Larry, your first PT, we're getting rid of that. Not everybody's getting money. The PT after that, we're gonna go back to paying everybody money again. That's some real bullshit. Like, I was like, these motherfuckers right here said, fuck Larry. I feel like they got a team meeting and was like, alright guys, how can we fuck him? Like, like,
just wait, boss. I got something for you.
Yeah. Yeah, you were playing Reclamation in that qualifier event. Because, yeah, that's the one that me, you, and Steven all qualified and made the top cut for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I stayed up super late.
Yeah. I started like 0-2 and I had to win out. It was a good tournament, but I just couldn't beat the Reclamation deck in the top cut. Because, yeah, me and Steven were both playing our little Rakdos aggro we built. Yeah, it was cool that we did well. We both did well with a deck that we just brewed up. So
yeah, that's true. See, I think this just kind of proved to myself that I need to take more time off Magic because I don't even remember that until you said that. Like that's just how much that tournament mattered to me.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
Yeah, for real. I know. Do you have any plans for Magic in the future? Or are you done?
No, definitely. I'm definitely not done. It's just once it becomes relevant again, I'll play again. I definitely might grind some of the ladder now. The itch kind of came back after the sealed event. I definitely gonna play the sealed event that it qualified me for the Kaldheim championship qualifier thing or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because this sucks. They took sealed off of what's it called? Arena.
Yeah.
Which I also don't have any understanding of why they don't do a sealed ladder. Like, it should, since there's historic and standard that qualifies for a constructed ladder, why can't we have draft and actual sealed for the limited ladder? Why can't we have, like, I love sealed, like, I think I love it so much more than draft right now because I haven't got to play sealed for so long. So I'm enjoying it. I've drafted a ton. Like, a ton. Like, I've made Mythic when when Kaldheim came out. Because I thought that was a really good set to draft. But man, Mythic grinding for limited is it's brutal. It is brutal. Because it goes up one tick every time. like, bro. Like, constructed so much easier. Also, if you make day 2 of the qualifier, you automatically get into the next month's. I don't know if
really?
Yeah, I don't know if you know that. That's why Dewey don't have to really grind 1200 this month because this weekend he gets to play and not have any worries about it. Which I should hit him up and see if he wanted to do any testing for that event this week.
Yeah, just to see.
Yeah, you should come on and do some videos with us sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
now
because
that I'm on that 9 to 5 life, I can definitely find time in that or the evening to do so.
Yeah, because I do videos every night for the most part. Because, like I said, I own everything on Arena. I'm gonna start playing Moto again, but all the irrelevant events that I do are all Arena format, so I don't really have any reason to play Moto. And I'm to the point where I'm comfortable. Like if there's like an NRG event, and if it's modern, I'll just pick Dredge up because I play the deck well enough where I think I could play it in the blind.
Nice.
Like I put it down, I picked it up for one league 5-0, and I haven't touched it since. I'm like,
that's the way to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I'm one of those people that actually like Moto because I do the challenges and stuff. I like doing like the Sunday Standard Challenge. when there's no other tournaments, because I actually think the players that play on Moto are a little bit better than Arena for the most part.
Yeah, I think that's just a product of it just being something that's worth money.
Yeah.
Where, Arena kind of isn't.
Yeah, like standard leagues for sure. I think are legit on a Moto, because you have to be good to think that you want to spend, what is it, $10, or when you could just do it for free. You know.
Yeah. There's like infinite replay value on Arena if you invest the money. Where on Magic Online you have to constantly put in time and effort to maintain that collection, or just update your money, I guess, if you're renting or something. But it takes more effort, definitely.
And honestly, the renting ain't nothing. Like, hypothetically, let's say you want to do not the very top tier. It's like, what, $60 or something like that a month on Mana Traders. If
yeah,
you,
see, I don't know about Mana Traders. I use Card Hoarder, and it would be like $10 a week or $12 a week or something.
Yeah.
To rent like a good amount, like 400 or 500 tickets.
Yeah, mine, I did like 700 tickets, and mine was like $18 a month or something like that. It was either between 700 and 900 tickets. I only did that because I play Legacy.
Right.
And sometimes Legacy cards can be a little pain in the ass. And that's only because of like Force and Negation is like $100 on Moto. Because, Moto Finance is a pain in the ass right now. Last week, before the ban, so 2 weeks ago, Valkyries and stuff, like, Dewey has the $1,200 ticket limit, and we couldn't even play the Legacy deck. Like, that's how expensive standard cards are outrageous on there. Because Euros were like $60. I wonder what those are at now. Because they were at 60. Let's see how much they...
15 tickets. Or 9 tickets if you want the non-promo.
Yeah, I see right here. If I want to go on Card Hoarder, I could buy them for $7.70 a piece. If I pay cash.
That's a steal.
They're still Legacy playable, right? So, we got that going for us.
True.
They just banned Oko. Oko did nothing wrong.
He wasn't destined to survive. Oko got axed everywhere.
Ooh, Teferi, though, is still $40.
Is he really?
Yeah. He's a Modern and Legacy card.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Very busted. Confirmed.
Yeah. Online currency. It's a crazy thing, right? But yeah, man, definitely should get you on there to do some videos. May have to give you on to play some cycling, because I have no idea how to play that deck.
Yeah, so I'm gonna work on it tonight, and
yeah, you should
basically I'm just gonna change every land to a pathway, call it good, and take that enchantment out. That's it. Deck's complete. Sideboard, couldn't tell you, but that's the strategy.
That sounds like a plan to me. We're going to go ahead and do our first interview. Nate, how are we doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. The pause there, I thought we lost you. I was like, we got disconnected right when we started recording.
Jeez.
Yeah, me and Steven are excited to have you on, man. Like, what you been doing today?
Today? Well, I went to work.
See, that's what I like to hear. Going to work.
Trying to solve the mysteries of an inner bearing on a centrifuge that seems to be like eating grease. Like the grease doesn't, we don't know where the grease is going. We put the grease into it and it disappears forever. So that's cool.
Oh, that's wild. Like,
yeah, we called like the manufacturer, and they said, don't worry about it. And we're like, okay.
All right, if you insist.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, my friend.
You built a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment. We didn't.
You gotta love technology at its finest. I don't know if it's
exactly.
technically technology, but close enough, give or take.
Yeah.
I know. You said because I spoke to you earlier today. You said it's a Jewish holiday today.
Yeah. Well, it was. Purim started sundown yesterday, which was Thursday.
Oh, it's not like the actual day. It goes from like sundown to sundown. Is that how it works?
Sundown to sundown, yeah.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
So like if a calendar says like first day of Hanukkah, it's really the night before that it starts.
Huh. Okay.
Oh, I had no clue because I'm not Jewish myself. Yeah. I honestly don't know any Jewish holidays outside of Hanukkah.
Yeah.
And actually, one of our roommates is Jewish, or says he is.
Yeah.
And
fun fact: Hanukkah's not a holiday; it's a historical celebration.
Really, I wasn't aware of that either.
The only reason it gets all that attention is because it's like near Christmas.
That makes sense.
It's like an American consumerism type deal.
Yeah.
But, hey, to be completely honest, I'm not technically Jewish because it's my dad who's Jewish. So,
sure. Yep.
And since my mother is a Gentile, I did not come out of a Judarist. Therefore, according to the Orthodoxy, I don't count.
Now, with Jewish, I always get confused by this. Is being Jewish, is Jewish considered a race, religion, or both?
It's both. It's a religion that my family doesn't practice. They're not practicing Jews, and then it's like an ethnicity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So for me, it's like part of my cultural identity, but I don't practice any religion. So
No, I always found like the whole Jewish thing interesting because like when you have like Christian, you don't have like people like say Christian as they do for like Jewish. That's why I always wonder like if it like what the correct way, like if it was like just a religion, or if it was a race, or if it was both. Because I wasn't too sure because we growing up, my family isn't Jewish, so we had no knowledge of it. Like,
yeah, your family are practicing juggalos, though, right?
Oh, you know it, the Juggalo Nation.
Yeah, basically, to put it simply, like the Judeo-Christian faiths, like Judaism was a thing, and there were Jewish people, and they the Old Testament basically is the Torah, and so everybody's just like, yeah, we're Jewish, and God told us all this stuff, so we got to do it. And then, they're getting picked on, so I think somebody decided, to like add a second book and make it a religion that they like encouraged to spread, so that it wasn't like, they weren't getting picked on anymore. They're like, now it's a popular thing. Now it's cool to believe in this God, and I think that's how Christianity started. But don't quote me on that. I wasn't there.
That's fair. It was just a few years off of your age because you are old as dirt.
I am pretty old. I am the second oldest member of Team Swish. So.
Yeah, I was just about to ask. Like, I thought you were the oldest because you have the most gray hair. I think.
Dude, I had no idea you were even that old, man.
I have way less gray hair than Jeff.
Yeah, I said outside of Jeff.
Outside of Jeff.
No,
yeah,
Jeff is definitely the oldest. He's like what, 70?
Yeah, he's 37.
How old are you, Nate?
36.
Jesus, bro.
Jeez, he's so old.
You're like 10 years older.
I know, right?
That's crazy.
Calm down.
I forgot you're a few years
I am the third oldest on the team.
Are you serious?
So, enjoy your time with me while it lasts. I'm not long for this world.
Shit.
No, actually, Ray has me by a few months.
Okay.
I think Ray's technically the third oldest because Ray's birthday is today, and he turned 31.
Okay.
And then I'm 30. I think Dewey's only like 22 years old. At least the stuff he be doing, I be thinking he's the youngest on the team. He's so energetic.
He's older than me.
Yeah, but everybody's older than you.
Yeah, but Dewey's also got like a master's degree, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's about to go and become a doctor before he turns 30, I feel. I actually don't know how old Dewey is. To be fair.
And to be fair, not like a medical doctor, but like a doctor of business.
Yeah, essentially not a real doctor. He's in the same class with chiropractors.
Yeah, chiropractors, vets, and dentists.
Oh no, vets I respect.
Vets and dentists.
I don't respect dentists or chiropractors, but vets I do.
You don't.
At least they're saving lives.
Oh man.
That's pretty funny, but yeah, let's talk a little bit about you and Magic.
I do like that.
Yeah. When did you start playing Magic, Nate?
Well, Revised was still in print.
Oh, buddy.
Man, you are
like
old.
the first Magic cards I was buying was 3rd edition, and the Dark was still in print, so I was buying some packs of the Dark here and there. But I was also like 9 or 10, so I didn't have any like of my own money. So
yeah, was this before they start printing money?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering predates currency. We invented money in one of my early teens, I think, in order to have something to give stores for Magic cards.
That all lines up according to the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, you know, Magic for me as a kid was just something I did with my best friend and a couple other people that I knew, you know.
So you just play? You're pretty much a tabletop player. Not that it's a bad term. Yeah. Like we all were tabletop players at one point. Honestly, I kind of wish I could go back to tabletop, but it's impossible.
But at that time, competitive Magic was totally different. Like,
of course,
there was no internet.
Oh yeah, that was back when they had the magazines.
But it wasn't like available to like citizens. So like if you wanted to net deck, you had to buy InQuest magazine.
Exactly, the magazines.
See what decks were popular last month.
Mm-hmm.
About the best you could do, you know. So the meta was super slowly changing, and I just played at my local game store and with my buddy, and I just played like a red green aggro deck. It was type 2 legal, so it was standard.
Yep, type 2 is standard, correct?
Which means like Curd Ape was restricted, so I could only play one Curd Ape, and I only owned one Taiga, even though it was only like a $10 card at the time. That was a heck of a lot of money for me. So I had one Taiga in there. The rest of the lands were basics, and then I and then I was just playing like Lightning Bolt and Giant Growth. It was pretty fun.
No, that sounds like a good time.
Then they printed Raging Goblin, and I lost my mind.
Refresh us on what the Raging Goblin does. Does it match the power level?
Haste. 1 red, 1/1 haste. It was insane. For 1 mana, that was way too good at the time.
Yeah.
Like, the best 1 mana creature I was playing in my deck was Script Sprites. 1 green for a 1/1 flyer, which was actually pretty solid. Because you're like, turn 1, play this 1/1 flyer. Turn 2, Bloodlust, hit you for 5.
Yeah.
You know? And there wasn't like a 2-mana, there was a 2-mana removal spell, but like, only, you know, if they didn't have Bolt or Terror, like, you're just as good.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's funny how times change. That would nowhere
Fallen
be
Empires
close.
came out, man. We got Goblin Grenade and Fallen Empires, and it was a whole new world then. And then whenever they printed Raging Goblin, I lost my mind. Like I said, you know.
That's nice. So, did you stay playing Magic all the way from that time to current days, or did you take breaks between?
I took breaks. I took breaks with other TCGs too, as was like all the rage back then. Like playing every TCG that came out. Like I never played Pokemon because it was kind of like not that fun in its early onsets compared to Magic. It was like really slow and like really like swingy, I guess, you know.
Yeah, Pokemon and Magic were just two complete different games. I was the reverse.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this on the podcast back when we had Nick on, but I played Pokemon and I did it during the Pokemon League nights. They had like badges you got by you played games and stuff to get points and whatnot. I actually did a tutorial for Magic to get extra points towards my badge, and that's how I got into Magic. Back when I was like 10, 11 or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's really cool.
Yeah, because they were both at the time. Pokemon was made by Wizards of the Coast as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, excuse me, but yeah. So you didn't play Pokemon. Now, did you play any of the other games? Like I remember at that time there was a million TCGs. There was like Sailor Moon TCG.
Oh no! I mean, I played Legend of the Five Rings, and that was probably the best TCG outside of Magic that was ever made. It was just so. It was so. It was like Magic mixed Warhammer almost, but like set in feudal Japan. Like you'd have like your personalities, which were the creatures. And then you'd like put attachments on them and turn them into units, and then attack your opponent's like deck, you know, and try to like take away their provinces, which like reduce their hand size while also killing them. And then there was like other ways to win. Like you could just gain a bunch of honor, which was like life gain kind of, but it didn't affect combat didn't affect it. You know, if you gained enough honor, you'd win by that way. Or it was just cool. It was like super stylistic, like mythical feudal Japan, and it was a blast.
That sounds sweet.
You know, it didn't last forever. I think there's a version of it out now that's kind of like Netrunner, like you just buy the game. You don't have to like collect the individual cards, which is, I mean, to be fair, like a really good way to game, you know. But
I agree. I know. Back at that time, I think the other TCG I played was called Raw Deal. No,
Raw Deal.
It was a TCG based off of WWF.
Oh, sick.
Pretty much every concept was you milled your opponent out. That's how you won. And when you did like damage, well, from different moves or whatnot, it had a number for them, and that's how many cards they would mill over.
That's kind of cool.
Then you had reversals and stuff, so you go be like, oh, I'm gonna do elbow strike. This is just like basic elbow strike, and you go be like, ha, and there'll be like a card like not so fast or something like that. And you got the pretty much how EDH has, where you have like a commander, you have a wrestler.
That's funny.
It was a cool game. It actually lasted like there was actual like nationals and stuff.
That's fun.
It was tight.
Yeah.
I think they might have lost it because of the licensing was probably like their biggest issue for it. But it was definitely a cool game. Being a pro wrestling fan, you know, it didn't take much convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Marvel Overpower for a while, which is like the Marvel Comics one. That was pretty sick.
I did Versus System.
I don't know what that is.
That was like their it was popular. I don't know if it's still a thing anymore, but it was a popular TCG based off of Marvel comics. They might have had DC. I know it was mainly Marvel though. I think it was all Marvel. The more I think about it, but regardless, I
even played HeroClix at one point. You know,
I played a lot of HeroClix. I used to be big in the HeroClix. Back before all this new nonsense. I remember I was playing back. I started playing when Collateral Damage Booster expansion came out.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a minute.
I don't know. I remember I played the very first set and like the second set maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I played back when they had the Kingdom Come figures, which were like unbeatable at the time. Ultimates was the. What was that?
I saw the power creep. You know, when the first DC that came out, they had like all new stuff, like Impervious and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I just remember
Impervious was nuts.
This power creep is terrible. I'm not into it. Like the whole first wave of HeroClix are useless now. Cool.
Except for, your first wave was trash.
Lord or something. Yeah, like one guy. I don't know.
And now Impervious is a joke. Like everything they have nowadays.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yep.
But yeah, so you play different TCGs. When would you say you got into it? Like I won't say competitive because you're not very like super competitive by any stretch. But decided to start doing actual somewhat tournaments.
Well, I think Steven probably remembers this. Like when I started like playing FNMs at Grandland. I want to say it was like it started for me with standard with like Cons block. And I was jamming Teamer Ramp and Red White tokens aggro while everybody was on Abzan and Esper Dragons.
Yeah, now and this was Abzan pre-Dramoka's command too, because I remember I played a lot of Red White too. That deck Outpost Siege was awesome. That deck was super good. Yeah, until Dramoka's command got printed, but before Dramoka's command, people couldn't get that card off the table, so it was just like a continual. You know, you would name. I think you would name Cons, right? Cons is the one that gave you card advantage, and Dragons is the one that dealt damage. Yeah, I think Cons was usually the more passive ability. Dragons was usually more aggressive. But Outpost Siege was insane. Yeah, that deck was totally sweet, man. I was playing that too for quite a while.
Oh man, that's actually makes. I was gonna say that makes me think about Outpost Siege because during that time I played a deck. What was that 2-mana enchantment that when a creature entered it dealt damage to people.
Impact Tremors.
Impact Tremors, I played that.
Tremors.
And the Siege, and I played like Secured Aways,
Purpro.
and then the Goblin making stuff. So my whole, and then I played the Dashing Goblin. What was his name? The 3/1 or whatever.
Heel Cutter.
Heel Cutter. Oh,
Yep,
good old
Goblin
Heel Cutter.
Heel Cutter.
That deck was so fun to play.
Slicing people's heels. Yeah, that card was sick.
Good little
Dash
tool.
was a good mechanic. I like that mechanic.
I like Dash.
The version of it I was playing, and I think even you helped me like make it better at that time because you were just excited to see somebody else playing that kind of a strategy.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like all in on tokens for the most part. Like I was playing.
Yeah, I think you were doing what Larry, kind of more what Larry was talking about, like Perforos.
I was playing Impact Tremors, Perforos. Before Secure the Waste, we had like Raise the Alarm still.
Yep.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so Raise the Alarm, Dragon Fodder, and Hordling Outburst were all available.
Yep.
And then we had oh man, no, what was the best goblin ever? The 3-drop dude.
Oh, Rabblemaster. Yep.
Yeah, Rabblemaster, man.
Rabblemore.
Yeah, it was Rabblemaster was dope. And then
Yeah,
I
man,
remember,
Rabblemaster with Stoke the Flames was awesome.
Yeah,
The burn deck during that time was sick. Well, we're gonna be doing an episode revisiting Con Standard, like a flashback episode in a few weeks. I can't wait to do that one because that was one of my favorites. That's actually the standard I came back to Magic. So,
okay.
So I always have a soft
memories.
part.
Yeah, a lot of good memories for you.
Siege Rhino's what got me back to playing tournaments.
Yeah.
Will definitely be. It just makes me want to just jump into that because I love that standard so much.
Yeah.
And it was so diverse for being a fetch land format, which was nice. There were so many decks.
It was sweet. Yeah,
Until
I really
Rally
liked
came out.
The Teamer Devotion deck was sweet, even before they printed Teamer Sabretooth. I remember I Lava Claws, Crater's Claws somebody's face for like 42 at F&M.
That's so
That
funny.
is beautiful, and I love every second of that. I wish I could have been present for that moment. Oof.
Yeah, I don't remember how it was. What was it between Nykthos and then that creature that you tapped for Devotion?
Voyaging Satyr.
Yeah, no, Voyaging Satyr untapped Nykthos, but there was like a 4-mana creature that just tapped for.
Oh yeah, Acolyte of something.
Karametra's Acolyte.
Yeah.
I played like 2 of those, and then it was just really fun because you had Elvish Mystic and I'm trying to remember what some of the other key components to that were, but yeah, Voyaging Satyr was sick, and then just getting your devotion super high, and then just jamming Genesis Hydra and
Did you play Mist Cutter?
Hornet Queen and stuff like that.
No Mist Cutter Hydra.
Well, I played Mist Cutter out of the board, and it was great, especially when Esper Dragons was the control deck.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Esper
And then
Dragons was cool because they had Ugin at the top end when Favorite Forge came
And
out.
Summongar's Scorn was really sick.
Yeah.
Counter spells, obviously good.
Sick. Yeah,
It's basically what that card was in that deck, which is really neat.
That was that Solemn Guard that gave all creatures -1. When you're
Drifting
playing
Death.
when you're playing tokens, that was
Yeah.
a nightmare.
Slumguard the Drifting Death was gross.
And then Dragon Lord Solemn Guard was nice.
All
Everything
the dragons
involved.
were really good. That's why that
Ojutai was amazing. I'm going to get an anticipate off of this guy essentially.
Yeah.
No, Dragons are, like I said, I'm really excited to do talking about the cons format. So, man, I can't believe that was 6 years ago, something like that,
ago, man.
give or take. I know it was 5 years ago is when the next
it was
topic
very
is
long.
going to be, though I not all rotated. We jumped into Eldrazi with Oath of the Gatewatch and Battle for Zendikar.
Speaking of Eldrazi, Nate didn't mention this, but I remember Nate, we all when we would all go over to your house and right before the Grand Eldrazi winter, basically, we were all jamming at your house with Galen and I think Luke DeCorver might have been there. I don't even know. This is a lot of guys from Grandland all came to your house and we were all jamming for GP Detroit.
Yeah, so which was that the Eldrazi winner GP? I was on Blue-White Eldrazi for that.
Yep, and we were all starting to kind of mess around with the Eldrazi decks or whatever because
I played Blue-White in that main event.
Yeah. I should have played Boggles. I ended up not pulling the trigger on Boggles.
Oh, that would have been a good...
Yeah, what's his name?
Really
Calcano ended up getting like 14th with it at that event.
Yeah, my buddy actually did quite well playing Merfolk.
Yeah.
My other friend went X and 1 day 1 because he was playing Burnwind mainboard bridges.
Yeah, it's nice. I remember, yeah.
It was...
This guy who did that, yeah, I can't... Someone... is it the one guy who got in trouble at the PT? I think he might have done that. No. The like Dutch guy, blonde hair, big, pretty bulky dude actually. Blonde hair. I forget his name, but he's the one who did the human thing.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name either. But anyway, I'm pretty sure he either won or top 8 at a Grand Prix, even like maybe a year or 2 years ago, with that same strategy. He I don't know if I don't think the format was ridiculous enough where he mained them, but he sided like 3. Because bridge against some decks, man, and burn is just so gross. Because if they can't kill you, you're certainly gonna kill them.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that GP was my first GP back, so I'm a little soft spot for that as well.
Yeah.
Oh. Just after that, when they banned that was probably my favorite modern format. I loved it. I loved playing Eldrazi way more than I liked playing blue-white Eldrazi.
Yeah, the band deck was cool. It was a good mid-range deck that also could play aggressively.
Man. I really enjoyed that format too after the banning, because I think that was my second open top 8. My first modern open top 8 though was with Tron after I got banned. The week after Joe Lissette won with Tron, and everybody was still saying Tron was bad, and I was like, oh, if he won with it, I guess I'll play this shit too. And then I ended up actually playing him in the event and beat him. We had a good match, and then, but anyway, it was a sweet event. I always remember though, I got very lucky to even day 2 this event, because my round 9 opponent day 1, I was 6-2, and they were playing Infect, and obviously Infect is an atrocious matchup for Tron. It's one of your worst.
Yes.
And I warping wailed a Glistener Elf, and my opponent Apostle's Blessinged it, and I was like, "Yep, that's good. What color are you picking?" And obviously, Apostle's Blessing can't name colorless, so they just not only lost their threat, they blew their Apostle's Blessing, and then on the following turn, I fire spouted and killed a Blighted Agent, and they didn't have a way to save it because they blew their Blessing. And then I ended up winning the match because of this, but so wild, dude. Oh my god.
Oh.
And then Karma did eventually come back to bite me, I suppose, in top 8 when I lost to Jessup playing Infect, and he knew how to play Infect a lot better than the other guy.
Oh, poor you. You had to get paid back in top 8.
Yeah, unlucky for me for sure. No, there are a lot of funny stories about that event. I also met my... I met some friends at that event. Ryan McCamish, he's an Odd Nauseam player. He's like a big Odd Naus guy, and we had some really good banter. But I remember my game 3 was hilarious. He silenced me on turn 3 when I had Tron, so I could not Karn him, and then I just had the natural 10 mana on turn 4 Ulamog you, and he was just like oh, just raw dogging it all. I was like, yup.
That's funny.
Yeah. It was so, yeah, I mean, it's, it was really funny, but, the modern format after that was really cool. I think the Coco decks were pretty good at that point, too.
Yeah, well, that one that made an appearance that, during Blue-White Eldrazi, the Abzan Coco deck, Abzan combo.
And then I think that was around the time... I think, where Hooglin played the 63-card special, too, the Kiki Court deck.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, I remember Justin Crandall used to play that all the time. You remember that, Nate?
Yeah, Crandall played it, and then Justin Weaver played it.
Yep.
And who else played Kiki Court? I don't know. But yeah, so, you guys know my roommate, John Richardson. I met him I became friends.
That's cool, man.
Sorry, you cut off a little bit, Nate. What did you say there?
He's back. Go ahead and repeat all that, Nate. We missed it all. You cut out.
No, that Detroit GP during Eldrazi Winter was when I first hung out with my roommate John Richardson, we went down there, not knowing each other that well, just like carpooling, and he day two'd that event with Gred, I want to say. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Which was a hilarious deck.
Yep.
But yeah, and then the other guy we went down there with was the Kiki Court guy, Justin Weaver. So I don't know, man. I miss that Modern. Those decks were great.
No, that was a fun Modern. That was a Modern I was doing really well with Fish.
Yeah, Fish. I had Fish too. I think around that time I had Fish. I think I had picked up Fish for Legacy, and then obviously if you have it in Legacy, you have it in Modern. You know.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like, there's not much of a difference. Minus Force of Wills and Chalices. You could play Chalice in Modern if you really wanted to.
Yeah. I used to really like that Modern too, and go ahead, Nate. Keep going.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, in Legacy, I didn't even play Chalice and Fish back then.
Okay.
Because it wasn't really necessary. We just played Standstill.
Sure.
Because like, if they're gonna try to combo off while you have Standstill in play, you're gonna draw a Force anyway, right?
Okay. Yeah. That's
exactly.
fair.
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, I was going to say, I used to really like that Modern format just solely because after Eldrazi Winter happened, because it felt back then a lot like Historic feels now, where like you can just jump in a queue and play frickin' cats like we were doing yesterday, and you can like actually compete. Like you can play random nonsense and actually like, especially like an F&M, you can just take whatever you want and just like play some stupid nonsense. You could play frickin' dinosaurs or some shit, you know? And you could just like have success because your cards, like playing well and having reasonably good cards is good enough to win games. Whereas now in Modern, things are just like a little too powerful for that silliness. Like you need to bring a good deck to the party.
Well, that's well, I was hearing somebody said this yesterday online. It makes sense that because Historic right now feels like old Modern, where it's a 3-2 format, where every deck feels like it's good to go 3-2. It might do exceptionally well sometimes, but it's a solid 3-2 format where all decks, like, whether it being Rakdos Arcanist, it's being Banned Spirits, it's being any of these Thoughtseize collected come the X decks, they're all good 3-2 decks, but nothing is, like, super dominant.
Yep.
Like, I think the closest thing that might be dominant would be Jund Sacrifice, because it's the most cleanest deck in the format. But even that one loses, so...
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, Historic is low-key the best format in Magic in that.
I agree.
Because I think it's the most open format too.
Yeah.
It's
which just means that to me, like the whole being able to just like brew and play random stuff is
that's
fun.
what makes a good
fun.
format in my opinion. Because we put Cat Company together and did well with it.
Yeah, we did pretty well.
Like,
I mean, if we would have played better, we might have been 8-4 or 8-5 or whatever.
A couple losses was all on us. Like we died to a Thalia.
Yeah. To be fair, that match we still won. That game was our fault. We did still escape the match, thank God.
It seems aggressive and resilient, you know.
Right, and it is a collected company deck. It does definitely speak to the power of collected company.
We probably gave away a win because we weren't playing 4 Regals at first.
Yeah.
So
or at least made our deck worse. No doubt about that.
And I do think our building was getting better on it. What was that name?
Decks like that thrive in a format where a combo is bad, you know. And unfortunately, the only problem Historic has is like that the combo deck is really easy to beat. So
yeah, the only combo deck really, I guess, we should still respect Paradox Engine as a combo deck, but the only other combo deck I could think of is like Goblins.
Yeah, Goblins is still very good. We've mentioned that a few times.
It's so weird that I'm not running into it, and
I feel like some of the reason is people like are trying to just like have fun and play whatever. Yeah. But, like, as soon as a competitive event pops up, you better believe Goblins is going to be
I was just about to say that. With the ladder, people just want to play, and they want to play different things compared to the same trick pony that we've been seeing.
I'm not going to lie to you, our cats would not have beaten Muxus. We were not going to beat him.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's think.
It's so improbable, bro. I'm
not playing Improbable Alliance.
I think you're 100% correct. But the other, like the green-white company deck just smushes Goblins, right?
Yeah.
I
don't know. I haven't.
That green-white company deck is
a good
nice.
deck. It's a good. It's
I don't
very
know if it smushes Goblins.
I have no idea. I haven't played the matchup from either side, so I can't speak to it.
Yes, I agree.
I know the green-white deck. Larry was saying it's a big headache for mono black. Which makes sense.
I don't know about vampires though. I don't know that.
It was a close matchup for auras. It was close. It was actually a pretty interesting matchup. I enjoyed playing it. And that was the deck I was getting the most reps in with Historic lately. So that's really the only one I know good information about against green white.
Yeah, I've been playing the green white deck and playing against it a lot. It's fun. I don't know.
It is popular, I think.
The deck that's the most intriguing to me right now is that 5-color World Tree Yorion pile.
Okay.
That looks sweet.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that either, but it sounds really
That's
neat.
hot.
Why don't you talk a little bit about it?
I played against it twice just tonight, like before this. Like I played against it with I played a few matches with Paradox Engine and it felt awful because I just kept playing against aggro. And then I played a match against green white and I was like, "Oh, I should win this." They don't have a ton of removal, and it's like, well, it turns out that they do.
Thing about that deck is it needs to find some like their card advantage engine that Uro was like providing them. I feel like the deck is missing because once you like can drain your hand, the deck is the phrase that better is Thoughtseize is so much better against that deck now that Uro is no longer in the format because that deck beat Thoughtseize decks pretty well or fought them a little better is because Uro was able to bring them back into the game after they had some hand disruption early. Now without that kind of card, what was that?
Totally, yeah, I loved it then. It was really nice having Uro to just do a different thing besides your main plan. But Saheeli is sweet in the deck, and
I
especially
agree
against aggro.
Saheeli's just a sweet card.
You can go infinite with Saheeli, Emery, and like 2 Mox Ambers. You know, you can just like if you have Paradox Engine, obviously, but like you don't have to like kill them. You can just make 100 servos and then say go, and barring Extinction Event, there's not much that can be done about that.
Yeah, no, that's actually kind of sick.
Yeah, and you can do a lot of really cool things. I'm also playing like Asika in the deck because she makes Kinnan tap for 2 mana.
What is the Asika again?
So like actually the creature side of it, not the like planar bridge or whatever it's called, rainbow bridge. I don't know. It's 2 green and 1 for like a 1/4 vigilance that says
all legendary.
Legendary creatures you control tap for 1 mana of any color. So your Emerys, your Kinnans, and Asika herself, as well as your Chariot and your Sky Sovereign, if you really want to do that kind of stuff,
that's
all
nice.
tap for double whatever if you have Kinnan in play, which is pretty solid. But I don't. I did have a really fun moment where I activated a Chariot. Crewed a Chariot in order to tap a Mox Amber for a green because I had no legendary creatures in play, and then that helped me like do some more things and then like win that game. It felt super weird, but it was the way to win, but I don't know. Yeah, the game is not or the deck isn't as good as it was, that's for sure. And I don't know, there's still a bunch of control out there, which is sweet because I think that is a good sign for the format. But like,
I agree. Yeah, I've played against the control a lot actually, and I've done quite well because I've been here playing Spirit, Zombies, Mono Black Aggro, our Cats deck. Like we be in control like with almost everything, and I don't think control is actually necessarily that good because control is a deck that it's so hard to build an effective control deck over a mystery format. Because you don't know how you need to gear your deck for. So.
Well, I think the version that is the reason why the version that's really good right now is like the Yorion, just like pile, like 4-color, 5-color pile where you're playing like Oath of Kaya, Binding, that Cartouche or whatever.
You have the trial, the one that makes him sack.
The trial.
Which
yeah.
This all makes sense because you probably want to steer your control deck more to like a proactive mid-range deck. It's kind of similar how Ray's blue-white decks in Modern typically were like proactive Planeswalker style, where you didn't need to focus on like the mystery metas of Modern can be or the pairing lottery, where you can just be like, I'm just going to tap out with walkers like getting Jura, Teferi, XYZ Planeswalkers along with those. And I'm going to force you to have to deal with these. These are all going to be very powerful cards that has ability that can fight with most things that's going to be in this format, and even the random brewery style cards, which that probably is a good way to build it for historic. Where it's going to be an unknown like scenery, you can go ahead and be like, all right, I'm going to take this unknown scenery and I'm just going to be proactive. I'm not going to worry about countering your stuff. I'm just going to deal with it when it appears. And now with no Uro in the format, because that was a control deck's nightmare.
Mm-hmm. And they're playing that 2-mana Path to the World Tree in the version I played against today.
Oh, that's
the one
nice.
that was like,
card's sweet.
Like, and then playing the World Tree as one of their lands too. And it was just really cool. It was
Did
just
they play
like
Golos?
It was like a kind of I did not see no.
Oh, because that would have been even hotter.
Golos seems cool.
I'll link some Goloses with Yorion.
Golos seems really cool in a deck like that. Actually, it might be good. I could buy that.
I would consider playing like 1 to 2 in that exact build.
Yep.
You know, because it wants to be blinked, and it's gonna hit like a removal spell 90% of the time when you activate it.
It's gonna hit something relevant. You get to cast 3 cards, so.
Yeah.
Is it play? Is it play?
Yeah, cast them for free with Golos.
No, but does it let you play lands?
Yes.
It does?
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
I didn't know if it said play without paying its mana cost or cast.
Yep, you are able to play lands.
I don't remember. I just don't remember. I've only played Golos one time ever, and that was in limited. I went X1 in a PTQ and didn't make top 8.
Classic.
Dude,
Classic
I played Golos
system.
in the historic like crazy in that mono black control deck.
Yep.
Yeah,
That,
I
like,
had it in when we
Golos
had the
with
limited
black
in Detroit.
Event.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah, limited in Detroit. I had Golos, the portal that lets you bounce your own
Oh, that's
creatures.
messed up.
Age
That portal
of
is
the
awesome.
Treachery
Yeah.
and the 7-mana artifact that destroyed stuff.
I was about to say the portal with Agent was sick, dude. I had a deck or two with that going.
And then Meteor Golem with it too.
Yeah.
I went X1 with that deck and didn't make top 8.
Aw,
It's so frustrating.
just sounds like such a.
To be fair, if you would have made top 8, that's when you have to draft, right? Do they do a draft?
Yeah,
So
I
you
wouldn't
did
have
that.
cared.
I know, yeah, you're happy to top 8, you're there. Yeah, dude, the PTQ system was so brutal.
That deck was so good. Then my main event deck was fucking medium as hell.
Yeah.
I didn't do well. The deck was fine. That was the GP that the lights went out.
Oh, sure.
It was funny. It was limited, and I remember I'm in the venue. I'm looking towards the door. I'm getting blown out this game. Like I'm just sitting there trying to figure out what to do. And next thing you know, I thought my mind is playing tricks on me because I'm dehydrated. So I see the lights going down the rows on the ceiling going out, coming towards me. They're all going out one at a time.
Or you think you're like dying or something.
I was like,
oh, shit,
what
what's
is going on? And then next thing you know, boom, the whole power's out. And the first thing I do is grab my bag by my feet because I'm like, you tripping if you think somebody's going to steal my stuff.
This has been great. That's like pitch black, right?
Yeah, it was pretty dark.
Convention center.
You used to see judges were going around with lights off their phones.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
Judges are telling players, like, you still can't be on your phones.
Get out of here.
It's so funny.
Get out of here, yeah. That's like me today when it's like 3:20 and the day's over and I'm telling kids to put their phones away. I don't give a shit if you have your phone out 5 minutes after the day's over.
They're not allowed to have their phones?
Obviously not when I'm teaching in elementary school, but no, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, she was saying that she was texting her sister who was coming to pick her up. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't even care, to be honest. Like, when it's 5 minutes after the day's over, it's really hard for me to try and enforce a put your phone away rule. Like, I'm not teaching anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, that just reminded me of that. Like, obviously the player's going to take their phones out. It's pitch black. You want to see what's going on.
It was a funny time.
That is pretty wild.
Yeah, nobody's pulling a kerosene lantern out of their backpack.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, somebody they deserve, like, a free entry to a draft or something like that. Is
That's
freaking cool.
That's so funny, yeah.
So, Nate, you said you went to GP Detroit for Modern Eldrazi, right?
Yeah.
What have you been to any other of those big style events like Opens or Grand Prix?
Yeah, that was actually, I want to say that was my second Detroit GP. I went to the one for Origins.
Yeah.
Yep.
The sealed team.
I was just about to ask if that was the team event.
Yeah, and we did terribly.
Team sealed is brutal.
My teammates took all the good cards because they had like archetypes like decided on based on the pool, and I was like, all right, I'll just build like blue green, like good stuff, and I did better than either of them with worse cards, and I just like they just both felt really bad at how poorly their decks were performing, and I was like, I just had like kind of realized I was like, well, yeah, we're having fun, it's fine, but like. All I wanted was that Mana Gorger Hydra playmat, man. That card's sweet.
Oh, yeah, I remember
No,
that.
I love that card. That's one of my favorite cards.
That event brings up really funny memories for me because I was telling Larry a few months ago, I was watching World Series of Poker, and I forget exactly what his last name is Davis, and he won a World Series of Poker, and I literally watched him do it a few months ago because I had heard that he did really well at a World Series of Poker. I didn't even know he won one. I'm trying to think of what his name is. God dang it. It's not Anthony Davis, and it's not Jim Davis. Oh, man. We'll look it up here in a second. I see Larry pulling out his phone. But anyway, I played against him in this event, and he's also a very good Magic player, and his team was solid too. But I remember losing to him, and that was around when we got knocked out of the event. So that's what I think of whenever I think of that event. Mostly because I recently watched him win the
Could it
World
be
Series.
David Williams?
That's him. David Williams.
Yeah.
David Williams, yes.
He was a Poker After Dark winner. And stuff.
Yep. He ended up winning, I think, a World Series of Poker or something that I watched on TV. And
It might have been the World Poker Tour.
Yeah.
'Cause that's like the SCG of the poker world.
Okay.
Just for your references.
That's okay. Fair enough.
Not as pathetic, but
So anyway, I remember watching on ESPN him win a freaking poker event. I was like, hey, shit, I lost to that guy in Magic. That's pretty wild.
What were you saying, Nate?
Well, so during a side event that weekend was probably when when I realized that like limited was my favorite format.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was doing a 2-headed giant sealed with Steven, do you remember Timmy Lambrix?
I don't think I do.
He's another Grandland guy.
Okay.
But anyway, mostly an EDH player, and we did a 2-headed giant sealed event. And do you remember that giant from Origins that was like tap one creature each opponent controls at the beginning of combat?
Nope.
Okay, well, it was like an uncommon in Origins, and it was a white giant creature that tapped down a creature each opponent controlled at the beginning of combat. So you got to hit 2 of their creatures when you were in 2-headed giant with it.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it was just one of those cards that was obviously designed to be better in that format, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the I don't remember which set it was, if it was like M19 or the one that has the each player tutors.
Okay.
I know which one.
It's just so much better in 2-headed giant when you and your teammate both get to do a thing before the opponents.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, long story short, I think every other like large-ish event I've been to was either with Team Swish or traveling with Team Swish before I joined. So, and I think one of the first ones that I ended up doing alright at was that one, that Legacy event, and I know Larry remembers that insane game I had. It was like the Snowco days, like the early Snowco days, and I was just on Maverick.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
I'm playing against this like Sultai Snowco player, and our boards are just huge. I'm just like jamming to deal with Oko. I was just jamming shifting Ceratops, which was pretty good against Oko.
That's awesome. Shifting Ceratops and Legacy.
This whole matchup was funny. Oh man, this matchup.
Yeah, there were just so many tokens on the field, and just like it was so muddy.
That sounds
there were so many triggers. We were missing so many triggers.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they were both missing triggers. Like the board state was just nuts.
We were both exhausted.
Yeah.
And
it was mentally
and I had one game one really quickly, so it went to time. I knew it was going to go to time. I just knew I just had to like keep dirtling and keep a standstill, you know. So that's what I did. But yeah, like I had like 13 Knight of the Reliquaries with swords on them, and shifting Ceratops was sort of feast and famine. So like untap my lands and like play another thing, second main, just like doing dumb stuff like that.
I think this might have been the event that I played Death Shadow for some reason.
Okay.
Yep, it's that one.
And then I realized how bad Death Shadow is against swords.
Okay.
The one round I won that day, I played against elves. They did not play swords, and I won. I played swords every other round, and I lost.
So you still don't just like always beat elves though.
No, I'm not saying it's a good matchup by any means. I'm just mentioning how that's how the day went. I beat every deck that didn't play swords.
That's fine.
I think you can beat elves with shadow as long as you find your removal.
Plague
That's what
Engineer's
you
not
need.
the worst either. He helps.
Yeah, Plague Engineer is helpful. I'm kind of excited to play elves post COVID because Allosaurus Shepherd is sick.
Yeah.
The card is great. And without Oko around anymore, it seems like it's going to be a much different world. I don't know what I'm going to do with my Bant pile. I've got that Bant Loam pile.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem that good anymore. I'm also, but whatever.
Question. So not to try to steer away from Magic completely. We brought up COVID. When do you think we'll be able to get back and start playing Magic again? Any predictions?
Oh no, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm waiting to get the vaccine. We're in my group right now, but the city employees don't have the highest priority over I think educators.
Yeah.
Steven, have you guys been?
Yeah, so I've gotten my first one, and my second one is about a week it's about a week and a half from now.
Yeah.
Julia just got her second one.
I'm actually just signed up, and I'm going to be getting mine soon.
So we're
Nice.
on the way here.
Yeah.
The second one beat up Julia a little bit, and most people that Larry and I know, it seems like the second one's a little rough on people, but fortunately nothing too crazy. So
Yep.
Well, I mean, I've been vaccinated for anthrax, smallpox.
okay.
What else?
I've been vaccinated for a lot of different things.
That's
too.
fair. I was vaccinated when I was a young child, I suppose, but I don't remember that, obviously.
Yeah,
so
I remember some of my shots from when I was a young lad,
I don't think
a million years ago.
I used to get allergy shots weekly.
Oh my god.
But no, I went. I went overseas on a ship and stuff. So.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I forgot you did that.
They hooked me up. Yeah, we were going to Kuwait. They hooked me up with anthrax and smallpox.
Nice.
Okay.
So that was cool. It was during Operation Iraqi Freedom back in 2004. You guys probably were learning how to read or something.
Yeah, probably. You're not wrong, dude. I was 10 years old, man, in 2004. So
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, but
I was 19. So.
Nice. Hey, maybe when once we all get vaccinated, we can start doing some drafts or something together. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. We got to draft some Time Spiral remastered. That's
Yo,
nice.
I would love to do some. I'd love to get together with you because the last Axel, I remember right before the pandemic started, we got to do those mystery booster drafts
that's the set
together.
with Raven Inspector in it now, too, right?
It does have a fancy
my
Thraven
God.
Inspector.
I'm going to love this format. You're right.
No, it looks like a fun limited format.
You're going to be casting Raven Inspector, and your opponent's on turn, what is it, 1?
Yep.
Raven Inspector is a 1-drop, right?
It
Yeah.
sure is.
Yeah. And then 2 turns later, your opponent's going to play True Name Nemesis, and you're going to be like, well, I should probably draw a card.
Shit.
And then I'll draw an edict.
Oh,
there's got to be an edict.
My apologies. Did y'all miss the Zendikar Fetches, our fancy arts too?
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that is slick.
Yeah, I saw the Mars Flats today, and it's going to be with that fancy art. I was like, those things are going to be expensive. I'm about to pick a playset of all of them. I want to see if they're in different... Yeah. I want to see, though, if they're going to be in foreign languages with those borders. Because if they are, I'm about to
I saw a language, Old Border, Disdainful Stroke.
Because I want to get some Japanese Scalding Tarns for Dredge. And I guess I can get Arid Mesas too, because the deck plays Arid Mesa.
Yeah.
Because I want to get some fancy foreign cards for that deck. Like I'm gonna get the foreign merchant of the Veils. Like we're gonna like the alternative arts or whatever they're called, showcase, showdowns.
Yeah, if you go on Mythic Spoiler and look at the time shifted cards, there's there's like old border foreign language stuff. A couple of the spoilers are
sick. Yeah, I have to definitely look into those. But yeah, before we wrap up this interview, because we usually try to keep our interviews close to an hour, I want to talk to you a little about Swish Gaming, about you joining the team or whatnot. When did you officially join the team?
I couldn't tell you, honestly.
Has it been over a year, give or take?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think I joined right when you joined, actually.
Okay, so we were in the same batch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't know if you came in the batch with like me, Stephen James, Ray, you.
Yeah, it was around
Killian
that
and all
time.
them.
Because I'd been traveling with those guys anyway, so we just kind of like.
Yeah, you were cool with Andrew and all them already previous to this.
But I didn't get like scouted. I bet you guys got scouted.
No, actually, I just saw the post. Actually, Ray is why I joined, or because I was with a different team at the time.
Yeah, I remember this. So fun.
Yeah, I was with a different team. I sit there, and my teammate, I'm not gonna name drop or anything at the time, but
story's awesome.
So he goes, and keep in mind, I'm qualified for the Pro Tour and all that at this time. I get a message in our group was like, I'm going to start requiring you players to have to top 8 an IQ, an Open, or a GP once a month. Like, playing these standards, keep in mind, this player never done any of that. And I'm like, what?
That is such a stupid...
I was like... So I'm sitting there like, I just won a 130-person PTQ to qualify for the Pro Tour. Now I have these standards attached to what I need to do.
Dude, Brad Nelson would probably have a month where he doesn't top 8 an IQ, a GP, or no.
Exactly.
Like, it happens. Like, great players.
And I don't play IQs.
Right.
So I don't have the benefit.
IQs are garbage. Like they're whatever. If you want to go make $100,
I have to,
sure.
I have to top 8 one Open a month. Like, what?
Yeah, I personally hate it. I had, like, zero interest to go to IQs. There's, like, no Pro Tour on the line at all. There's no, like...
They're good to give free money.
Right, exactly. They weren't even like that. Like, yeah, it's $150, $200. I mean,
yeah, and then if you win an IQ, you just leave your wallet in the fucking
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I lose my wallet and lose all the money anyway. That's the only thing that ever happened when I did good in an IQ.
But if you...
Yeah, I literally lost my wallet.
Let's tell this story.
One of the first trips I was on with Larry, man, I don't know how we didn't think of this on the road trip story where we were talking about road trips.
Let's start from the beginning. We went to down in Ohio.
An even better part of the story was like the day before, we hardly knew each other at all, and I was like, yo, you want to go to this event or something, right? Wasn't this event where I literally messaged you and was like, hey, you want to go to this together? And you're like in Lansing or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, sure, I guess. And then you come grab me, and we go get James or whatever, and we go to this IQ, and the IQ goes pretty well. I top 8, and I'm pretty sure we all split in top 8, and I lose.
No, you split in the finals, I think.
Was it the final? Okay, it might have been top 4. I swear I didn't.
It's either top 4 or finals.
It doesn't matter. The point is, we split for a good sum of money. I think it was like $300, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm up $300 this weekend, and. We stop at a Burger King in Jackson, and I pull out my wallet for whatever reason and got food, and I guess I never put my wallet back, and Larry was driving Uber at the time, and who the hell knows what happened to my wallet. It never showed up again. So I was down much more than 300. The 300 I won, it wasn't that bad. I only had like 100. The most annoying part of losing the wallet, honestly, was having to go to Secretary of State and get my license again and all this other stupid stuff. But yeah, it's anyway. That was like one of the best IQ finishes I ever had, and I ended up losing all the money I won.
And
then
you ready
losing
for the
more
biggest kicker? I moved in a week later.
Oh yeah, that was good too. That was good too. All this was a.
You know what's the most unfortunate part about that story is. I wish I could have found it so I could have paid him the rent with his money. That would have been like the best.
Yeah.
No,
you would love to do something like that.
No, the absolute best, like all jokes aside, would be if I waited, if in a couple of years I go to Steam and be like, I think it's time you get this back now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
Oh, yeah.
that's right. Yeah, so we all did join the team at the same time, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we were doing some NRG events, because the first time I met you, Nate, is I met because we were riding with Andrew to Chicago. That's actually the weekend we came back, and Nate helped me for like 45 minutes to de-ice my car.
Yeah, we scraped the hell out of your car. Your car was, well, it was also because I needed a ride home, and you were my ride home. Because you picked me up at my house. We never met each other.
Yeah.
Drove to Andrews. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, we were freezing. Our hands were fucking cold. But we had no choice because we had it was just iced over. It was it was similar to when we had that ice storm years ago.
Yeah.
That's how it looked. And it was pretty thick
yeah.
too.
That was a wild.
But yeah,
everything.
so want to finish every interview, ask the same thing. What would you say is your favorite format?
Favorite format?
Mhm.
It's definitely, it's Legacy. Yeah, it's Legacy. But I do love,
Limited.
yeah, Draft especially.
Yep.
Especially right before, a limited format gets solved. It's super fun.
Yeah, because it's all unknown. You can play a lot of different cool things. And the last thing I want to ask is, if you had to take a Mount Rushmore of your 4 favorite cards that you think are the 4 best cards to you in history,
That's a nice question.
Name your 4 cards that would go on the Mount Rushmore of Magic.
It would just be 4 different arts of Birds of Paradise.
Oh, get the hell! Oh my god!
I don't think Steven's going to accept that answer, so we're going to need something a little bit better.
He can have his answer. That's fine.
No, okay, no,
I
I'll
hate
give
that
you, I'll
answer
give you a
so
better
much.
answer. So it would be you don't care about the art. You're talking about playability.
Yeah, just
cards. It
what
could be
do
your
you-
favorite cards. It could be fucking Hill Giant
Yeah.
for all we care.
what do you think are the 4 best cards in Magic?
I want different art birds. Get out of here.
He's so
Alright,
angry.
yeah,
Oh.
my 4 favorite cards is Birds of Paradise though.
Okay, that's
So-
fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
So we got Birds
Best
of
man on
Paradise. I really like Sword of Feast and Famine.
Okay, that's acceptable.
I don't even think it's the best sword, but it's my favorite. Let's kind of get out of my favorite No, I think we're gonna stay in Legacy.
Yeah, you can be in anything you want.
Omniscience is a hell of a card.
Okay.
But I think if you know me well, you'll know that we're gonna keep Omniscience off, and we're gonna go Veteran Explorer, Cabal Therapy, because that's I'm a Nick Fit player at heart, and the deck is not good, but man, if you can sacrifice a Veteran Explorer to Cabal Therapy on turn 2, you're probably gonna win the game.
Hey, I accept those.
Yeah.
I will rate it a B and not an A because you didn't say Lightning Bolt, but it's fine. It's fine.
Lightning Bolt, trash card. And,
All right. Well, this interview is officially over. We will never talk to you again.
And we'll be editing that out.
We will never allow you to slander our Lightning Bolt in such ways.
And they're even better if they're whiteboarded too.
Oh man,
Those
I
are
love
the best
whiteboard
Lightning
cards.
I do. Okay, I do love me some whiteboarder
All right.
Lightning Bolts
Then
that
you're-
are
then you're
really
fine.
beat up.
Yep, you're
We're
welcome back.
still, we're still editing that part out, but this part we'll still keep.
Yep, this is how the title of the interview.
The part where-
Lightning Bolt is the best.
Yeah.
Said directly from Nate.
It kills bird.
All right.
But no, we.
because Bolt Bird. That's it. Birds of Paradise has got to be a good card if if your opponent's gonna bolt it immediately.
Yep.
This is very true. But yeah, Nate, we do appreciate you coming out. We've been wanting to get more of our Swish buddies and brothers and comadres onto the show. I know next week we're going to be interviewing Adam Love. So.
Well, that'll be a treat. That'll be a real.
It will be. It will indeed be. I'm excited for Insight.
Yeah,
we're gonna get a lot of it.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Larry. I'm gonna listen to that one. I don't listen to you guys' podcast.
You better listen.
That is the most hurtful thing I've ever heard.
I don't listen to any podcast. It's not personal.
Oh, that's okay. I accept it.
That's fair. I don't listen to podcasts very often either.
Yeah, I mean,
especially when we're not playing Magic, right? That was usually when I would listen to podcasts, is like on Magic shows.
No, that makes sense. I listen to podcasts while working because of what I do.
But you drive, yeah. So it like makes sense.
Yeah.
I can't just pull up a podcast when I'm out of school.
Yeah, I drive for a living, so it's your podcast or I watch Netflix while driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no. Long story short, I'm excited for Larry to say a bunch of false things about legacy cards and Adam to get really overly excited about it.
Oh, you already know. I already have a lineup. Oh, buddy.
It's good.
You already got it.
It's going to be a good episode.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm stoked for you guys. I think that's going to be really funny.
Me too. It should be fun.
I'm going to go on while Dreadhorde Arcanist was a bad ban because I don't even think it should have been played in Delver.
As you said on like 2 podcasts ago that it was the best card to ban, but Adam probably didn't listen to it, so he's not even going to know. Oh boy!
And I'm gonna have a Delver list that's not gonna play True Name Nemesis because I think it's too slow. Oh
yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Well, even better. I think the best way to go is just play a Delver list that doesn't play Delver of Secrets.
I'll be like, is it tempo?
Right.
Playing Sprite Dragon instead.
I don't
of
like Delver because it's not a good tempo card.
No, I like that Delve. I like that Delve thing from Commander Legends. You should look that guy up. It's like 2 blue and 3 or something for a 3/3 flyer. It's like it could be like the new Dreadhorde because it has Delve, and then when it enters, you can like return an instant or sorcery to your hand. I think it's a 3/3 flyer.
Sounds very good.
That's actually not the worst. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Like that card's actually kind of cool.
You should look it up in like. In preparation for that, because I think it's something that you'll want to.
And then we should talk about how Sprite Dragon is strictly better.
Yeah.
Or a Stormwing entity, which we've already tried playing in one Legacy League. So.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But no, that's gonna definitely be exciting. You'll definitely have to check us out. Good thing we're on Spotify and YouTube, whichever one you use. So.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, I believe you.
Just Thanks. Over here trying to plug our stuff. Even though if anybody's listening, there obviously already know where they can catch us at. But in case for some reason you
really good.
you caught us on accident. Yeah, promote our own product. That's like commercials for. I used to love like WWE doing a promo for the pay-per-view that you're watching.
Oh.
And I'd be like, oh, I'm glad I ordered this right now so I can know that I should buy it. That's nice.
It's really fun.
All right, guys.
All right, man. Thanks for being on. You have a good one.
Thanks for having me. I'll come back.
Sounds like a plan.